Hello, guys, and welcome to the Stardom Cast, your weekly audio source of all things World Wonder Ring Stardom. I'm your host, Rob Goodwin. I am joined, as ever, by Mr. Matt Turner. Matt Turner, we are in the middle of five-star season. We are knee-deep in five-star Grand Prix season. How are you feeling, good sir? And what were your thoughts 3 nights deep into the tournament?
3 nights, all three great shows, a lot of great matches. Interested to see what some of your favorites are. I know I put a little poll out there the other day on social media what some of everybody's favorites are. I have a clear-cut favorite right now. We're only 3 shows in. There is a clear match that I think everybody is going to be chasing as far as the match of the tournament just so far. But just really 3 fantastic shows. Super excited to chat with you about them, Rob. Not only is it the return of our, doing these 5-star Grand Prix reviews, but the return for you longtime listeners of the podcast of who won each day on predictions between myself and my lovely wife. And she is an ultra competitive season, Rob, because literally in about 3 hours from now, probably less, we will find out where she placed on the pie baking contest, the breakfast, the Danish baking contest, the chocolate cake, the zucchini Nutella bread that she made. She entered herself in like 4 or 5 different things. Yes, when I came home from the gym this morning to go make my protein shake, I didn't know where to go. I was afraid to touch things because there was so many different baked goods all over my house. So yeah, so not only is she competitive about her 5-star ranking, which I did not tell her how she did on day 3, which wasn't as good as Uncle MT. I'll wait till after she gets 42 blue ribbons in a few hours. So, yeah, she's an ultra competitive mode, brother, but I'm great. How's things your neck of the woods? I don't think I really talked to you too much this weekend. The World Cup has finished.
It has.
It's done and over with. Were you surprised with the result with a 1-0 game? Were you surprised at the low scoring game? Were you surprised that the Atlanta screw job came back to bite Argentina and the behind, and they took the big L from Spain? Like, what were your thoughts there, Mister the Gerpster?
No disrespect to any of our Argentinian listeners, of which I don't think we have any, but there we are. If we do, hello. But I have never been so happy to see a goal go in than I was for Spain. I was such an ardent Spanish fan, as I imagine half of Britain was, to be fair. Just because Argentina didn't exactly cover themselves in glory in regards to how they played. I think I heard someone refer to it as the dark arts, just basically being very dirty and things like that. And ultimately, they got what they deserved. And Spain have been the best team in the tournament. They've been consistently the best team in the tournament, and ultimately the best team won. Argentina deserved to beat us. Spain deserved to beat Argentina. But again, when you've got Argentinian players punching Spanish players at the end of the match because they didn't win, it's hard to root for them, really, as a neutral. So there we are. But I saw Donald Trump trying to get into the World Cup lift photo, which, again, make of that what you will. But yeah, it's been what, 48 days or something like that, the World Cup. It has been a long, long tournament. And I must admit, I've been watching most of the games when I'm on the treadmill, and the last couple of days I've been thankful for the 5-star Grand Prix, because I was like, what the hell do I watch? What do I watch while I'm on the and thankfully the 5-star Grand Prix has scratched that itch somewhat. But yeah, I'll be lost without it for another good couple of days.
Now, how often do they do the World Cup? Is that once every 4 years, like the Olympics?
It is once every 4 years, and then the European version of that, the European Championships, that is every 4 years as well. So it means that we've only got 2 years between major tournaments.
Now, is that the one that D'Lo Brown hosts, being the greatest European champion?
I believe it's him and X-Pac, yes.
William Regal.
Absolutely, yes. How did you know? Imagine that halftime show. That halftime show hosted by D'Lo Brown, Willie Reegs, Shane McMahon making a run in. Oh, just the lineage of that.
I
miss the European belt. I miss it. In fact, when I do universe mode, it's the first belt I bring back. Whenever I do a universe mode, always have the European belt. Love it.
But real quick, but I want to congratulate you guys. Took the bronze. You guys took the bronze. You hot beating. I forgot the game was on. I was searching through something social media, and you guys are up 4-0. I was like, oh. How about that? So I looked over. I said, Amber's like, hey, isn't like one of the games on? I said, yeah, 4-0. Rob's up. I said, so we were doing something else. It was Saturday, right? Yeah. So I was trying to get caught up on really sleep because I went back to back on Friday night into Saturday morning with the Summer Sun Princess show, as well as the start of the 5-star Grand Prix. By the way, side note, if you folks at Wrestle Universe have not seen Tokyo Joshi Pro Summer Sun Princess, is one of the best wrestling shows
I've heard some
all year.
Very, very good things about the main event and the tag match.
Yeah, from any company, start to finish, everything was really, really great. But yeah, so I was like, we don't need to watch. And all of a sudden it was like 4-3 or 5-3, and then it ended 6-4. It's like most of these games are 1 goal, 2 goal, 10 combined goals. What happened, Rob? They were just like, the heck with it. We're just gonna screw over the people that took the under and bet DSI, and we're just gonna blow up Vegas, and that didn't sound good at all. Like, oh, the FBI might be coming after me. But 10 goals in one game, that's not common, is it?
We went to my mum's. So it was my mum's birthday on Friday. Shout out, Big Natty. But we got no intention of watching it, so we just went to my mum and dad's. My dad had put this brilliant spread on. He got curry, chili. It was really nice. He always does a really good spread, and we got no intention of watching the game. So it was like, so what? Doesn't matter. We're not winning the final. Being typically British sour. And then I got in. I was like, I'll turn it on and just see what the score is. And we were 2-0 up. I was like, oh, okay, maybe else. And just as I was thinking about turning off, we scored a third. And I was like, yes, come on. Why didn't we play like this against Argentina? That's irrelevant. Not that I'm still bitter in any way. But yeah, 4-0 halftime. I was like, right, I'm just going to turn this off. I need to go to bed. I've got a football match on Sunday. Just turn it off, see what happens. Went upstairs, cleaned my teeth, did what I needed to do. Turned my phone on again just to check the score. 4-3. I was like, are you joking? There's no way England throw this away. And then I believe Elise either hit the post or should have scored or something like that. And then we got a penalty. But yeah, there would have been a head loss of biblical proportions in the British public had we thrown that match away as well. Though there has been a lot of outrage in the UK about, selections and things like that. This is the best we've done in a World Cup since 1966. Like, I'm not being funny. That's fairly impressive. We were never going to win the World Cup. I think it was stupid to assume we were. France were better than us. Spain were better than us. Argentina were better than us. But to come third, I'm quite impressed. Well done.
There you go, folks. So you got the insider info from the Gerbster. How was your? I know you're playing football on Sunday. Obviously, you survived. I see you got 2 arms. How'd that go? Give us the rundown there, brother. Because there's always some sort of adventure going on with you when you get into sport. You know what I mean? That should be your neck. Kirsty needs to write a book on the on your many injuries.
It needs to be a series. It went all right this season. I've gone back to being a goalkeeper because Lord knows I've had enough injuries playing outfield, and Kirsty basically did threaten to leave me if I was injured again. So I was like, you know what? I'll just be a backup goalkeeper. I'll go and whatever. And turned up on Sunday. The manager was like, do you know what? I'm going to put you in goal for the first half. I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, sure. Sure enough, 1 minute in, conceded a goal. I was like, that's not how I wanted this to go. But we lost 2-0. Pulled off a couple of decent saves. Was fairly solid. We had enough chances to win about 9-2, but just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. So yeah, ultimately for me, quite a boring game. No injuries, no broken jaw, touch wood, no broken toes, touch wood, no pulled muscles, touch wood. All good. All of those things happened last year.
Yeah, sounds like you had a good weekend, my man. That's good to hear. And obviously, you did watch some great wrestling here from a World Wonder Ring Stardom. And folks, that's what we're here to talk about. Not 1, not 2, but 3 fantastic shows from our friends over at Stardom. Some like potential match of the year candidates as well, my friend, especially with Poi and Syuri. So cannot wait to chat with you all about that, my friend.
No, absolutely. So, obviously, as Matt has alluded to, we are going to chat the opening 3 nights of the 5-star Grand Prix. I know that We Are Stardom on Twitter did put out that English commentary is coming for the opening night, but it will be 2 weeks from basically the date of the show because that's how long it's with the pay per view provider. It'll drop on Stardom World in 2 weeks' time, along with Walker Stewart's commentary. However, I believe that the playoff and quarterfinals in Korakuen and the finals are live with English commentary. So that's incredibly exciting and great to hear. But no, 3 great shows, lots of stuff to talk about. But before we get into those shows, Mr. Turner, of course, we need to inform the lovely people at home what, good sir, is coming up on our Patreon this week.
Alternate commentary dropped earlier this week. I go back to the 2021 5-star Grand Prix. Momo Watanabe versus Starlight Kid from Cork and Hall. You okay there, buddy? It looked like
just deceptively hot. Did not expect it to be that hot. Swallowed it all, so it's just bit of a throat.
I thought maybe put a little.
I forgot I was on camera when I did that.
Threw me off. I was trying to focus. I thought maybe put a little too much gin, or maybe not enough. Maybe not enough. Anywho, so I went back to the 2021 5-star Grand Prix. Momo Watanabe versus Starlight Kid. A way different Momo Watanabe and a way different Starlight Kid that we see today, but still great rest. And that was a fantastic match. I probably haven't seen that match in about 3 years. So I went back to the commentary on that from the legendary Cork and Hall. And then this past weekend, I also released the 1-2 million Maki Ito and Miyu Yamashita. Their 2 tag title runs as the Tokyo Joshi Pro Princess Tag Team Champions. So there's 2 title reigns. There are 8 matches total. And then coming up this weekend, I will be releasing my review of Miyu Yamashita, her win in the Tokyo Princess Cup back in 2023. I was trying to get the Momo Watanabe one out from her win last year. There's 11 matches, and there's just way too much going on this week and next week. So I'm getting a little bit of the homework done a little every other day. So probably maybe the next 2 or 3 weeks, I'll have that Momo Watanabe, her run and win in last year's 5-star Grand Prix. That review will probably be on the feed again, probably in the next few weeks. But again, the 1-2 million review is up there. And then next weekend, the review of Miyu Yamashita, her win in the 2023 Tokyo Princess Cup. So much great material there, past, present, and future, my friend.
And you did mention www.worldofjoshi.com, by the way, or patreon.com/worldofjoshi. Both get you to the same place. Matt does a lot of tremendous work over there, as does friend Andy Hedder as well. So make sure you go and check that out. However, Matt, you did mention that this week might be busy, and I wonder if it's something to do with your television debut. The trailer for Dark Side of the Ring, Samoa Joe versus Necro Butcher, did drop on Twitter, and you got a lot of love, bro, which was really, really nice. It was great to see you have your sort of moment because, as I put on Twitter, you're an absolute bloody diamond. So it was nice to see. However, when I did show the trailer to Kirsty, she was of the same sentiment that I was, that maybe it was due to the goatee that you got your ass handed to you by Necro and Mondo for so long.
There's a lot to actually unpack with that trailer. I'm going to give everybody a little behind the scenes. So the first trailer dropped, the 30-second trailer, about, I think it was the day after the last Jeff Jarrett and TNA. 30-second trailer. I wasn't in there, but I was informed from the people from Vice TV, there's more coming that you're in. Just keep promoting. I'm like, no, whatever you guys need, no problem. And then I was actually filming myself and the 2 Andys, Andy Hedder and Andy Zyke. We were on the Tokyo Joshi pod, by the way. New episodes come out each and every Friday. So we were kind of just chatting beforehand, and we were doing our bracketology of the for the Tokyo Princess Cup. And all of a sudden I see my phone is like blinking quite a bit. So, and I don't, Rob, you obviously, know me on a personal level. I don't like when I'm talking to somebody being on my phone, not unless I need to be on my phone for directions or something. So, but my phone was going off quite a bit. So I was like, what is this? So I go on Facebook, and I had a whole bunch of people tagging me in messages, but the person in DMs, the person at top of my DMs was Necro Butcher. So I looked over at Header and I was like, "Hey, did you know that if a new trailer from Dark Side of the Ring, this is obviously before we're recording, new episode of Dark Side of the Ring came out?" He's like, "No." He's like, "I just got home. I haven't been able to look at anything going on in wrestling." It's like, "Yeah, something just dropped because Necro just sent me a message and was like, yeah, it was so great to see your smiling face." Was his exact words. And then Andy Zyke was, "You should just, I wish we would have filmed because Andy Zyke's face is like, Necro Butcher DMing you." I was like, "Hey, you don't worry about it. When a man knocks you out twice in one match, you become fast friends." So yeah, so that was really cool. I had a lot of people sending me really, really nice matches. I've had some people asking for interview requests, and obviously, I will get more to that once this episode airs. So yeah, as of recording, the episode does happen tonight. Still don't know if I'm gonna watch it tonight because it's gonna happen around 9 o'clock my time, which is a little bit late for me because I get up early, or if I'm gonna save it for when we do our review Q&A, myself and Anthony Franco, my old tag partner, who was in said match, and you did get to see him get his butt whipped quite a bit in that
it was
episode.
all him because every time, obviously, I was watching the trailer. I was like, "Kirsty, you got to watch this. Matt's on TV. Matt's on TV." We watched it, and she was like, "Is that him?" Just every time Franco took it only seemed to be him getting his ass beat in the ring. They obviously showed you coming out. You did an interview where again the goatee and the beanie. We'll be talking about that later. But yeah, she was like, "Is that him?" I was like, "No, that's Franco." "Is that him?" "No, that's Franco." "Is that him?" "No, that's Franco." I don't know what Franco did to these people, but he was getting his ass beat in this clip.
I think if my memory's correct, now I know for a fact this part is right. I got hurt. I worked a Ring of Honor dark match earlier on in the day. I took a suplex the wrong way and landed on my ankle. And Kerry Silken and Gabe Sokpolsky, obviously Kerry owned Ring of Honor at the time. Gabe was the booker, now working for Evolve under WWE. They're like, "Yeah, you might want to go to the hospital and get that checked." I'm like, "I got Chikara." And they're like, I said, "You're in no shape to wrestle." I'm like, "No, I'm good. I'm good." So we were putting the match together. I'll never forget Pondo's just like, "All right, kid, what do you want to do?" And I was like limping. And Franco's like, "What happened? Was that from the suplex?" Because he worked the same show. I was like, "Yeah." And Pondo's like, "We won't work your ankle. We won't work your ankle." So Franco's like, "I'll take majority of the match." I'm like, we'll see how it plays out. And my ankle was the least of my troubles at the end. At the end of said match. So yeah, so there was that, and it was funny because Lily, my daughter, obviously saw the trailer. I was still dating her mother at the time. Lily was only a couple months old actually when that match happened, and I forgot that she was at the show. So
Really?
Lily showed, not Lily, her mother, because we were still together. So Lily showed her that, and then she DM'd me like an hour later. She's like, "I completely forgot about this. I think because I was so traumatized, I put it in the back of my brain." I said, "Well, tune in Tuesday night, 9 p.m. to relive the
reliving trauma with Matt Turner.
welcome back. But no, I had a lot of people, a lot of loves, tell me really, really nice things. So yeah, I'm excited to see, the episode air. I'm excited to see, it's a very buzzworthy match. That's a very buzzworthy match. So again, I don't know how long I'm going to be in. I was shocked I was in the one trailer, but I mean, it is the match that's set up. I'm glad they are telling the whole story. That's that trailer that myself and Anthony Franco were in. That's legit how it went down. We took an ass kicking, and then the message boards lit up, and then Ian Rotten took advantage and was like, "Hey, I want to book this match." And here we are. So yeah, I'm interested to see how the episode does pan out. But again, I can't say thank you enough to so many great people that have said so many great things. And yeah, excited to see this story get told. I'm excited to see Necro get his day in the sun because he is a crazy, crazy man. And again, I got a lot of people looking for interviews afterwards, and I'm excited to do it. Obviously, literally as far as my schedule goes, this is the busiest ever because it's tournament season. We got the 5-star Grand Prix and the Tokyo Princess Cup, so I will try to do as many as possible. But the one, if you are reaching out for interviews, I do want to say, people, do your research, and I definitely want to talk about the rematch that happened 1 year later with myself and Anthony Franco versus Necro Butcher dressed up as a bunny and Joker dressed up, I think, as, I forget what he was dressed up as, but definitely, I definitely want to.
Santa.
No, it was CP Monk and Colt Cabani. That was yeah. I'll tell the story real quick here because I know we got to get in the 5-star Grand Prix, and then I have to make sure my wife wins some blue ribbons. So what had happened was we were tagging for Chikara quite a bit coming off the massacre of Necro and Pondo. So we were teamed pretty much on just about every show. And they put us in the Tag World Grand Prix the next year, and we were wrestling Colt Cabana and CM Monk, which was supposed to be CM Punk and Colt Cabana. So I'm sure everybody figured that out. And what had happened was we're wrestling. We pull the heads off of the mascots, and it's Joker, who was a CZW deathmatch wrestler at the time, and Necro. So it was like, oh, here's the big 1 year thing of the return, which was really, really cool because Necro gave us a lot in that match. He gave us a lot in that match. Like I remember, I think I put him in the Fujiwara armbar, and I think I almost like tapped him out, something like that. But it was just, yeah, I remember him gave us a lot, and then of course he came back and beat our asses. But
as he's wont to do.
Yeah, but yeah, I hope people do touch upon that. But again, I hope you all tune in. And again, I'm excited for the Q&A thing I'm doing at the comic shop on Wednesday night. Realized not getting the draw that I would like because it's Wednesday at 8:00 and most of my friends have kids. So I was like, yeah, I could have probably planned a better date, but I figured it's 24 hours after the episode. So yeah, again, thanks to everybody that has said nice things about me. I hope I come off well there, and I hope you all enjoy Dark Side of the Ring, Samoa Joe versus the Necro Butcher.
I mean, the only thing I can say is this is probably the most child-friendly Dark Side of the Ring you could possibly have. Bring your kids along.
It's really, not to cut you out, but have you seen this match, Joe and Necro?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay. Multiple times. It's 9 minutes of absolute carnage.
So it's on YouTube. So more than likely after the Q&A, when we watch the episode, we're going to watch the match. And then my wife just told me, she's like, yeah, our youngest nephew, the one I play Madden with, he's coming. And I was like, we're going to hunt. I know you've never seen this match. We're going to watch this match there. Like, oh yeah, he'll be okay. He'll be okay. I was like, all right. Like, I got a feeling that her sister, not going to let her baby hang out with Uncle MT and Aunt Amber. But hey, you know what? It's better to ask for forgiveness than permission.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Let's get into the 5-star Grand Prix then, as we've got lots of little bits to talk about. We are going to talk, obviously, about the 2 title matches that happened on the opening night in a little bit more detail later on. But obviously, I wanted to talk about the 2 bits of news that came out of the show in relation to, obviously, and again, this is spoilers for anyone that hasn't seen the show. Obviously, I hope you're not tuning in because I don't want to ruin it for you, but I do know with it being pay-per-view and it not dropping on Stardom World for another 2 weeks, I don't want to spoil any results if you don't want them spoiled. So I'll give you just a second to turn off. You still here? Tremendous. So obviously, the Triangle of Madness dethroned Dream Trine, which we both predicted would happen. Look, we knew it was going to happen. Like I say, we knew that it was furthering that story between Tekla and Taro Okada. I did put something on social media that said, in kayfabe, how has Tekla managed to get a title match when she's been fired from the promotion and she's been banned from Japan? How has she got in the country?
She doesn't even go. So what you're trying to say, Rob, is
you don't even go here.
I love it. Continue.
Now, the match is by the by. I'll be perfectly honest. I had really high hopes for this match. It was fine. Mm-hmm. I am disappointed that Dream Trine's run has ended. I think they deserved better because, again, the match they won the belts on, tremendous. The 2 defenses they've had, fantastic. I think they deserve better than this. However, there is also a part of me that when you look at how especially Lady C and Amisori have wrestled their block matches, this story isn't over. They are gunning for those championships again. So I know that we were both saying that the Ito Respect Army are possibly the ones to go after these belts. It wouldn't surprise me if Dream Trine get them back. The only thing I would say, really, and I want to get your thoughts on this because I know that this has been something that's been discussed quite a lot on social media and valid points of view, every single one of them. What is Stardom really getting out of this run? Now, I know that we are getting whatever the continuation is of the Taro Okada and Tekla stuff. And Tekla's doing fantastic stuff in Stardom. In AEW. She's obviously the AEW World Women's Champion. I would hesitate to say that she's one of their big draws because I don't think she is. Even as champion, I think, again, she's done tremendous work, but I would say that there's not many people that are going to AEW solely for Tekla. You know, rather than your Mercedes Moné or when Tony Storm was champion, or even people like, you know, people tuning into Ring of Honor for Athena or something like that. Yes, TRINE will probably get the belts back, or Ito Respect on me, one of the two. Yes, Tara Okada will eventually get some revenge on Tekla, though it has been 3 years, it feels like, since the poor man took that horrendous spear in the middle of Las Vegas that we were there for. I felt like I took that spear. I was that close to it. But what ultimately, how is this going to benefit Stardom in the long run?
Oh, Rob, I'm glad you asked. Folks, to everybody crying out on social media, fire Tara Okada. Fire Tony Khan. That was my favorite. Fire Tony Khan. Sure, he's going to fire himself from his own company. How does that even work?
Yeah, might be a difficult meeting, that one.
Yeah, he's going to be like in the mirror. You're fired.
No, you're fired. Tough, I quit.
Let me explain to you how business works. Let me explain to you how numbers work. Let me explain to you how pro wrestling works. It's actually really simple. When this match was announced, I'm like, this is the easiest match for me to predict, because the Triangle Madness are going to win these belts. The internet is going to explode. They're going to be upset, but it's okay because your Uncle MT is going to tell you how this benefits Stardom. These three ladies cut a promo, and AEW put it on their social medias, and when less than a day, it had 100,000 views. 100,000 views with these three ladies holding these belts. These belts had 100,000 views. Rob, these are the Artists of Stardom Championships. And we would say all the time, the matches have been phenomenal, but they're like fifth tier on the list of Stardom belts, right? And 100,000 views. Rob, do you know who, the big tag title match tomorrow on AEW TV is?
Yes, it's Sky Blue and Julia Hart. Is it against Divine Dominion?
Yes, very good.
Hardcore
very
tag,
good.
Isn't it?
Hardcore.
I think people are saying they're going to use that to write off Julia Hart.
Hardcore.
To go and do the 5-star.
Well, again, hardcore tag match. And AEW has said 2/3 of Stardom's champions. So they're mentioning Stardom a lot now than they did 2 years ago. But that's another story for another day.
This is what I wanted to get at. If there's exposure on AEW television, fine, whatever. Again, as long as they're not doing it with the world title, because that would have been a very, very angry Rob. But Artist of Stardom Championships, fine. They're mentioning it on AEW TV. They're putting it on the socials, which is 1,000% more than they did when Anna Jay was in the tournament.
Didn't even mention her.
Didn't even mention it. It was like she'd left.
She's a ghost.
Yeah, absolutely.
She was a ghost.
But yeah, if they all mention it on socials, obviously you've got Sky Blue and Julia Hart. Presumably Tekla will also be on the show. Yes, she's got a face-to-face with Willow, hasn't she?
Mm-hmm.
So
they couldn't do it in Japan. Yeah, because
Willow missed a flight. So they're obviously going to have the belts on AEW television as well. You would
ding, ding. Robin, have you seen the consistent ratings for AEW between streaming, like when it happens, streaming services 24 hours, and HBO Max?
They've significantly better than it was.
They've been around 1 million views. I don't know if you know this, Rob. Million? Pretty good. Million views? That's pretty good. So more than likely 1 million people are going to see these three ladies, or 2/3 of these, Julia Hart and Sky Blue, with these belts in one form or another. So even if you get 10% of that, which is 100,000, people are like, what's this Stardom? And they check it out, their minds will be blown because, oh yeah, that's that company. They have a working relationship. They'll see the Azumis, the Starlight Kids, the Micahs, the Fukindets, the Sai Kamatanis, the Gokindets, the Fukindets. See what I'm doing there? So you're getting more eyes on the product. Okay. Now, here's something else too. Go back and watch that match. Now, again, I tell you right now, my ratings was 4 stars, which is a good rating. But for how great these Artists of Stardom Championship matches have been over the last 4 or 5 years, this was a good match where it really should have been great. However, Rob, let's break down the match. Was there cheating involved from the heels? Yeah, significant. Rob, they pulled the ref. They used weapons. Julia Hart did the mist. And Ami Sourei had a clear pinfall over Tekla. Not only Tekla, who's the main driver of this feud with her and Stardom and Terra Okada, she is the AEW Women's Champion. She hit her with like a thunderbolt. 1, 2, ref gets pulled. They could have done that to Sky Blue. They could have done that to Julia Hart. They did it to Tekla, who, again, in a kayfabe aspect, is the best women's wrestler in AEW because she's holding the belt. Folks, I'm saying kayfabe. Whether you disagree, or she has the belt. Just bear with me. And then they use the belts. So they cheated 3 or 4 times, and Ami Sourei had a clear win over the world champion Tekla. Not only that, it's the artist belts. It's not the red belt. It's not the white belt. It's not the IWGP. And teach you a little lesson here from your Uncle MT. I've been so blessed to learn pro wrestling from the best wrestlers, past, present, and future. I was always taught there's money in the chase. So does Stardom have a big show coming up in the next, 5 weeks that they may want to draw 8 to 10,000 people on, that they can have a special attraction match to help draw the tickets?
Yeah, New Blood 31.
New Blood 31. Absolutely.
I think it's 31. I think it's 35.
Go back in time. But and you're absolutely right. We even said last week when we knew that Team Tekla here was going to win the balance. I figured it's going to Edo Respect Army. I'm like, I think it's going to go back to Hina, Lady C, and Ami Sourei. Here's something else, Rob. Julia Hart is in the 5-star tournament. Who else is in that block? Hina. Oh, connect the dots. La, la, la. Anybody watch Pee Wee Herman when they were younger? Connect the dots.
Is that what that was? That's terrifying.
Yeah, I know, exactly. That's the idea. Triangle Madness. I'm using, folks, it's a business. This is going to help out everybody in the long run. Relax. Nobody's firing Terra Okada. Tony Khan is not firing himself. This is genius. Julia Hart's now going to get here. She's going to get better working in Stardom. Love to see Sky Blue do some stuff here. The whole Tekla thing, I don't know. There's got to be one wrestler that gets their revenge on her. I don't know who it is or where it's going. I'm all for it. But more than likely, you're going to see these belts go back to either the Edo Respect Army or Hina, Ami Sourei, and Lady C. Relax. Wait till the story to play out. And I'll end it on this, Rob. I don't know if you saw, there was a trailer that came out 2 days ago. It's got about 50 million views. Avengers Doomsday. If you do remember when Endgame came out, after its release, it was the highest grossing movie in the history of movies. And what set that up? The heat coming off Infinity War, because there's money in the chase. People want to see the babyface get their big fiery comeback. That's what's going to happen on here. You add in 5 weeks of this build up here. You add in the semifinals and finals of the 5-star Grand Prix. You add in a possible red, white, and or IWGP match on there. And it's going to be a blockbuster show. Again, I cannot wait for the 5-star finals. Obviously, we have ways to get there, and I'm excited for the shows in between these 3 shows we're going to talk about. Folks, it's fine. It's fine. And if you still want to talk to me, DM me. I'll make sure that you're okay. It's going to be okay. I promise you. Again, Ami Sourei had a clear win over Tekla. I mean, they're doing great. And then a lot of people are like, but Matt, AEW keeps beating Stardom. They haven't gotten anything out of this. Oh, really? I could have sworn in front of 8,000 people I saw Sherry submit Megan Bain, their basically monster that they've been building up for over a year. Stardom's getting a lot out of this. Not only this, Rob, again, you've written books about Stardom. Nobody knows Stardom better than you. Isn't this the most financial best Stardom's been the last year and a half? So clearly they're doing a few things right. Another reason why I don't think they're going to fire Terra Okada. Can you imagine, Rob, if England won the World Cup and the next day they fired the coach? You know, this doesn't make sense.
Don't get me wrong. Stuff like that has happened before. So it's a terrible analogy. Stuff like that has happened. We've had managers win the Premier League and then get sacked. So it happens.
Well, what do I know? But anyway, it's going to be fine. See how the story plays out. It's going to be okay, everyone. Now, if Tekla goes in there and squashes Suzuki, then we'll talk. But until then, I was
just going to say, if any of these win a singles title, this will be a very different conversation. With the artist, I don't mind. However, if Sky Blue comes in and wins the IWGP Women's Championship off Syuri, then we're going to have issues. I don't care how much cheating there is involved, then we are going to have issues. But I think the only thing that I feel, because again, you can see why it's happening. My only issue is I think Dream TRINE deserve more from this reign. But again, if they're the ones that are going to win the belts back,
In
then
front of 7,
obviously
8,000 people.
in
Yes.
front
Yeah.
of 7,000 people, 8,000 people at Ryogoku, then obviously this point becomes moot. But again, Chris Jericho has said multiple times people want the destination now. There's very few people that are still interested in the journey. So yeah, let's see how it plays out. Again, as you mentioned, Matt, there's a lot more exposure on these belts to a Western audience than there has been ever. So that's always a good thing. And I mean ever in terms of social media, in terms of AEW television and the television reach. My only sort of last thing for this, what is the end game, speaking of Marvel, for Tekla? Like, there's got to be a point where she gets comeuppance, where Taro Okada comes out on top, where Stardom comes out on top. We know they can't fire her because she just keeps coming back.
Like Lou Alabama. I'd say those stories in the 80s. We know they can't
put her on the no-fly list or ban her from the country because she just keeps coming back. So what is the end game here? In your opinion, obviously we don't know, but what would be your end game here?
It's pretty clear. Iron Man steals the Infinity Stones and snaps Tekla out of existence.
I am Tekla.
That's it. Depending on what happens with Tekla and Willow at the next pay-per-view Redemption, because we know Mercedes Moné more than likely is walking out of Wembley, which, by the way, I will get those tickets this weekend. I'm just waiting for Amber to be all ribboned up. We're getting those tickets for Wembley this weekend. You don't worry about anything. And then we're going into some booking. We'll talk more off air, but one thing at a time, brother. It's busy in the best way possible. Blessed individual. Anywho, Mercedes more than likely is walking out of Wembley as champion. Whether she's beating Tekla or Willow, that I don't know. I don't know which way they want to go. But if Tekla is still champion, you're not seeing her losing to any Stardom talent just yet. Maybe they stretch it to a big Korakuen Hall show. Maybe they stretch it to Crimson Nightmare. Maybe it's Saya Kamatani is the one where it's like, on her way back to the Saya redemption arc that they may or may not be going. Maybe it's Watanabe. That I don't know. Or Rob, if Tekla is going to be wrestling in Sumo Hall coming up at the 5-star final, maybe they stretch it to the next Sumo Hall show, which was announced. It is going to be Dream Kingdom. Dream Kingdom again for the sixth consecutive year. Is going to be 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Yes, 6. It's going to be in Sumo Hall. I can count.
Well done, bro.
Show me. A counting major. Anywho, so maybe they stretch it out there. Maybe that's where I'm in sales, baby. Maybe that's where the big blow off happens is in Sumo Hall, because you one thing I don't think anybody can deny, whether you like it or don't, the Tekla versus Stardom story is phenomenal. Like her showing up, like to shave Taro Okada's head, that was
with the clippers that clearly weren't turned on.
Yeah, it's like, what are they doing there? The clippers don't even belong there. But maybe that's where they stretch it out, and I wonder who the person is going to be to beat Tekla. And again,
that's the thing. Who's going to be the Stardom White Knight?
Yeah, I mean, it can be Syuri, because again, kayfabe aspect. If I'm like, Rob, we need to send one person from Stardom to kick Tekla's ass. There's a lot of ass kickers in Stardom. There really is.
Hey, when Triangle of Madness turned up on that live show, Syuri went for Tekla, and Tekla legit looked scared. I'm sure
there you go.
Obviously, but there was that interaction there, so maybe.
Yeah, I mean, so that might be the way to go. Again, it's going to be a big bump for whoever it is. And if Syuri is still IWGP champion, maybe Tekla's just like, okay, like this is your last, like I'm coming for that belt. And maybe it's Syuri, the one that put Tekla away. Again, there's a lot of right answers. We're just waiting for that destination. My guess, the big exclamation point on this part of the story is probably going to happen in Sumo Hall at the end of the year. I think that's the great way to go about it. And again, I don't see Triangle Madness holding these belts long. Again, my guess is Sumo Hall on the 23rd is when they'll drop them, 23rd of August. Or again, maybe it's just like, we're just going to do it at a Korakuen to get that 1,500 people there. That I don't know, but I'm enjoying the story. Again, I don't think it's going to be a long-term story, but our long-term reign for these three. But again, there's so many more eyes on Stardom because of the AEW relationship. And just because they're not winning every match Doesn't mean the partnership is bad. Again, because at the end of the day, it's all about butts and seats and more views on their pay-per-views and YouTube channels. And clearly they're doing that. So whatever they're doing, you cannot deny with numbers, you cannot deny the success that both these companies are having by working with each other.
The other thing to come out of the opening night of the 5-star was, of course, Natsupoi losing to Syuri in the main event for the IWGP Women's Championship, which was an absolutely phenomenal match, which we all knew it would be because Natsupoi is fantastic, as is Syuri. But after the loss, and again, we'll talk about that match when we get to the show. After the match, Natsupoi took one of her knee pads off, the one with the P, left it in the ring. Now, I think there was something in a post-match leading up to this regarding a P. Unfortunately, I can't find a translation for it, or if I imagined it, but I'm sure it happened. What is going on here, do you reckon? No Natsupoi in the 5-star Grand Prix, and she's on the undercard of these shows, so unless she's going to CMLL in August, or there's a tour in August. This seemed very retirement-y. And I'm hoping I'm wrong. Is this the start of the road? Is it the start of a change of character? Is it what did you glean from this very pertinent moment?
Lot to unpack here. I don't think, I could be wrong, but I don't think it's anything with the retirement for Natsupoi. It just seemed like she almost, like when I went back and watched, it almost seemed like she like just took it off, like just to take it off. Like sometimes like I would take my arm sleeves off because you're hot and sweaty and you just kind of want to get some, kind of want to get some blood flow going through certain parts of your body. And then she wrestled the next 2 days. Like that Monday was her birthday. Or
Really
that,
happy,
yeah. Saturday, I'm sorry, Saturday and Sunday. So it was like, yeah, and she was having fun. I don't see it. Maybe, maybe she's pulling dates back again. We get people asking us every week. We drop these episodes. What's going on with Natsupoi and Tekla? Natsupoi, excuse me, and Soriano? Like, why aren't they in the? We never got any clarification. And again, they were on all three of these shows. So it's like, why didn't they put them in the tournament? So like, again, we don't know. It might be something where they just wanted to peel back a little bit because these 2 points Soriano have been wrestling like crazy. Maybe their bodies are a little bit beat up where it's like, look, the younger talent is absolutely loaded. Give them an opportunity. Like we'll still do the matches. Like again, obviously Natsupoi and Syuri, they went all out. But even Soriano on that the Sendai Girls show. I mean, myself and Andy Hedder reviewed last week the biggest. She was in the opening match and really didn't do much. So again, maybe she's just pulling back a little bit because her body's starting to break down a little. Again, that I don't know. At the same time, you can't be going 1,000 miles an hour the whole entire time. The human body, not unless you're Darby Allin, I don't know how he does it. The human body just can't keep up that pace. And maybe Soriano's like, I need some more longevity. So maybe this is the 5-star to take off. Again, you got to think no Syuri, no Rani Yagami, no Fuachan, no Hazuki, now Soriano, no Natsupoi. And we're going to get into a partner in a few minutes. These shows were phenomenal, like just absolutely fantastic. It's on pace to being one of the best 5-stars ever. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't think she's retiring again just because of how much fun she was having on the Saturday and Sunday show. None of that, Rob. She got new gear, and that gear looked expensive. I don't think if you're ready to call it quits, you invest that much in new gear. And that's the end of it. So I just think she needs a break. Again, we still haven't heard anything. There's still been no clarifications while Natsupoi and Soriano aren't on the 5-star Grand Prix. If we do hear anything, we'll obviously chat it up. But I think people are making this out to be more than it is.
Yeah, I'm just having a look. Obviously, Stardom have announced the full cards for the Ishikawa show on 25th and the Joatsu show on the 26th. Natsupoi's on neither card and neither Soriano. So I wonder if they're just rotating people on the undercard. I mean, there is no undercard on the Joatsu show. It is just tournament wrestling. So, yeah, obviously at the moment, a lot of things are up in the air. It would be quite funny after all this speculation. It is just her. She had a sweaty knee and was just like, nah, I'm a bit warm. We've all been there. So, yeah, very intriguing. And we're going to, again, get into what was an absolutely sensational match very, very shortly. Matt has already touched on this a little bit, but during the show, our pay-per-view calendar for the remainder of the year for Stardom has been completed. We already know that Stardom to the World will take place on the 12th of September in the Yokohama Budokan. We've also confirmed the return of Crimson Nightmare, which will see Stardom return to the Ibarra Wave Arena, Ota Ward, on the 29th of October. We've also confirmed, again, as Matt has already mentioned, that we will be returning to Ryogoku on the 29th of December for what is officially now, they did just say that they were returning to Ryogoku. It is official now, for Dream Queendom 2026. Now, obviously, I would love for the winner of the 5-star Grand Prix to hold on to their shot until Dream Queendom, but again, I suppose it depends on who wins the tournament and where Stardom want to go. But I just wanted to point that out here. Our 5-star Grand Prix Pick'ems contest. Just want to say a huge thank you to everyone that has entered. This was open to everyone, whether you were patrons, whether you were free members, or whether you had nothing to do with the Patreon at all. We always do the Pick'ems for everyone, so we wanted to include it in the predictions league as well. The most people who have ever entered this predictions contest. So thank you to everyone that has entered. Obviously, we won't know our winners until the 23rd of August, although I feel like I've made a bit of a mistake not having Sayaka Karara go through from Red Stars A, but it's fine. We make poor choices in the heat of the moment, but I just wanted to say thank you to everyone that has entered. Our next predictions league show will be Marigold's Ota Ward show, which is Summer Destiny, which is coming up on the 9th of August. The full card, or at least most of the card, has now been announced, as well as Victoria Yuzuki coming back, which is excellent for us as fans of Marigold. But Matt, I just wanted to talk very, very briefly about the Summer Sun Princess predictions. And there's a reason for that. And you'll find out why there is a reason for that. Obviously, again, TJPW's Summer Sun Princess was on Saturday, same time, or just before the 5-star Grand Prix started.
Literally.
Matt was up all night.
It literally, I'll just give it real quick. I'll just tell you. So what had happened, I think I went to bed at 6. We ate dinner and I told Amber, I said, all right, I'm going to bed. She's like, the sun's still out. And I was like, I think I have some sake in the fridge. So I drank some sake and that put me to bed. And then I woke up at 9:45 for the show starting at 10. It ended. I did my instant reaction video, got some coffee, and then 10 minutes later, the 5-star started. And yes. And I watched that straight through, took an hour nap, went to the gym. But then that was about my day. I'm not gonna lie. I came home from the gym, showered, and that was about it for me for that day. But yes, absolutely crazy. And again, full review of Summer Sun Princess will be on Talk Joshi this week. And again, one of the best wrestling shows I've seen all year from any wrestling company. It was phenomenal.
It's worth pointing out that Matt and Andy over on Talk Joshi do watch Tokyo Joshi Pro on a regular basis. Someone that doesn't watch any Tokyo Joshi Pro is me. I don't watch any at all. So with that being said, shall we have a look at who won?
Oh, geez,
the Summer Sun Princess predictions, ladies and gentlemen?
Hold on. Oh, you have it.
I won alongside new patron, first time join Mark the Shark. We both got 25 points,
wow,
which was pretty impressive. Congratulations to Mark. Again, the first time he's entered a show on the Predictions League. This is my first victory, and I do just want to point out, Matt, that does put me top of the league with 79 points. Matt, you got 14. I think the big thing for me was I managed to get a lot of people being pinned correct, and I don't know how I did it. So when I saw that Uta Takami had got the pinfall in the first match, I was like, I could be on for a winner here. And yeah, so there we go.
Good for you, buddy. Good for you.
If we just do the top 5 of our Predictions League, and again, thank you to everyone that has entered our Predictions League. We've had brand new people enter for Summer Sun Princess, which is great. even more for the 5-star Grand Prix, and we hope to see even more of you for Summer Destiny as well, for the chance to win the personalized Talk Joshi World of Joshi Predictions League hat. The top 5 in the Predictions League so far. I am now top. I swear to God it's not rigged. I swear.
We still got ways to go, folks. So yeah, I mean, we're finding it out.
Don't worry, you'll see my 5-star predictions, guys. I'm not staying there, but I'll take it. I'm at the top with 79. Berry 420, our friend Mike, is 77 in second. Dirty Fall is in third, getting 74. Matt, you are fourth, 71. One above friend of the show, Mida, who is on 70. Just want to give a shout out to Mida as well, because it is their graphics that I'm currently using on the show reports on our Patreon, and they are absolutely phenomenal. So thank you to Mida. So again, thank you to everyone that has joined. I'll be honest, I very rarely get to toot my own horn. I just wanted to there. So there we go.
In the great words of the late great Roddy Piper, there's an old saying: "Don't toot your own horn. Who better know the tune? Who
exactly.
better?" Roddy Piper, genius. I will say this again, but I've talked about this show. I know you're a busy guy. I'm telling you, I would not lead you astray. Take time to watch at least the last 2 matches. Kurako Kome versus Daydream, maybe the best tag match I've seen in wrestling all year. And the main event with Yamash and Yuki Rai was phenomenal. And then if you do have a little more time, Chris Brooks versus Mizuki. I know it was supposed to be Willow Nightingale. Oh, there was some wild stuff. I'm telling you, definitely take the time to watch those last 2 matches. You will not be disappointed, my friend. I promise you.
I will definitely do my best to check those out. Just another few tiny bits of news then, and then we'll get into our show reviews. The next Future of Stardom Championship match will not be taking place in Japan. Ron Yagami did put out a little social media post saying that while she was on her American excursion, she wanted to defend her Future of Stardom Championship in the States. And her challenge has been taken up by Calientita, who we did see as a part of Stardom shows in Las Vegas a couple of years ago. They are wrestling at Happiness Pro Wrestling as a part of the Waterloo Wrestling Coalition between New Texas Pro, Happiness Pro, Stardom as well on Thursday Night Fights, which is Thursday, July 30th in the Pinballs Arena, which is in Austin, Texas. Doors are at 6, main card at 7, meet and greets at 9. If you're in the area, definitely go and check that out, as the most fightingest champion on the Stardom roster looks for another defense.
I just know they have Simpsons pinball at that venue, Rob. If you're going to be there, folks, let us know. Let us know if they have Simpsons pinball in that arena.
There you go. You've been given homework. Very briefly, I just wanted to bring this up. Both Yuna Mizumori and Ann Kanai were on the Ryukyu Dragon Pro Wrestling. Good Lord, I thought I was going to say that right. I had that in my head. I thought I got it. They were on that show on the 19th of July in Naha, Okinawa. The reason I bring this up, not only were they in the main event, again, Hibiscus May and Misaki Maeda, but it's the first time that Ann Kanai has wrestled in her home prefecture of Okinawa since her debut. So I thought that was quite nice. 18 months ago was the last time that Ann Kanai wrestled in her home prefecture, and she did it here, which I thought was quite nice. She celebrated by losing, by the way, if anybody cares. Speaking of Stardom out and about, our last bit of news, Sendai Girls ran a show from Korakuen Hall on July 20th. It was Dash Chisako's 20th anniversary, I believe. Though obviously she wasn't partaking on the show due to being pregnant. However, the main event was for the Sendai Girls World title, Chihiro Hashimoto defending against Syuri. Predictably, Matt, a phenomenal match. Chihiro Hashimoto never ceases to amaze me with her strength, her speed, her power, her frightening acceleration. There was a spot where she had, and I know this is all over social media at the moment, Chihiro Hashimoto had Syuri on her shoulders for a torture rack. manipulated her into this high-angle German suplex from out of no. I've never seen anyone toy with Syuri as effortlessly as Chihiro Hashimoto. Phenomenal match, predictably so. We are getting Mikari Iwata versus Chihiro Hashimoto at the top of Joshi Pro Wrestling, which is in August, which will be a part of the Predictions League. And with Mikari Iwata never having defeated Chihiro Hashimoto in singles action, I think we might be getting a change of title. What do you think?
That's a great thought. Like, obviously, Mika Wada is one half of the current Sendai Girls tag team champions, but then again, Hashimoto did that as well. A lot of the last 2 years with her and Yu were the tag champs. A lot of times she was the Sendai Girls world champion as well. That's a possibility, but again, I mentioned this last week. I'm going to mention again. We are now almost 7 months into this year. Bell to bell, the wrestler of the year is Chihiro Hashimoto. She had a banger with Venny last week. I just watched this match earlier today. A banger here with Syuri. And obviously, her and Mika Wada have a long-standing history. So that is going to be another instant classic. So Hashimoto is just doing phenomenal work. Again, this is the only match I watched from this show. Sendai Girls doesn't like to announce their attendance, but just me looking at the building from the entrances, it looked like there wasn't a seat to be had. It looked like the standing room was up top as well. So maybe 1,500. And Sendai Girls only runs Cork maybe once every month and a half. Like, they don't run Corkin that often, but it seems like when they do, they're packing them in there. And this match was great. I like this a little bit better than their match they had a few months ago from when Syuri choked out Chihiro Hashimoto. I don't know if I liked it as much as their All-Star Grand Queendom match, the knockout or submission match back from April 2023. But I mean, it's like saying, what's your favorite Masao versus Kawada match? Like, there's no wrong answer. But yeah, this was phenomenal. Again, full review of this show will be with me and Andy Header later on this week. And I can't wait to go back and watch the whole entire show. And again, I think with Hashimoto getting the win here, Rob, that does set up for her maybe to challenge for the IWGP Championship. Do they have Stardom have a big show coming up in 5 weeks somewhere that we may need to put that on there?
I mean, it's a bit big for New Blood 35, but yeah, absolutely. Just throw it on there.
I know.
Throw it on there.
Yeah, and 117 people as well as with the New Blood tag team. All right, so New Blood 35. We're doing Syuri versus Hashimoto. Obviously, semi-main event. Main event is Sakura and Aya Sakura defending those New Blood tag team championships. Who do they defend against?
They are going to defend them against Motoi Hamabe and a returning Momokogo.
Oh, I like that.
I mean,
I like that.
What is going to main event over Syuri and Chihiro Hashimoto? The return of Metal Momokogo, obviously. And then opening the show, Artist of Stardom Championship match. I reckon you might be able to draw a crowd of about 150 to that.
I'm not saying you're wrong on the tag title match, but I would have El Matador Tito Santana. Have Tito Santana, not just Tito Santana, El Matador Tito Santana.
Very specific. I like it.
Yes, and then Raging Bull Fukigen Death. Whole new gimmick.
Raging Bull Fukigen.
Yeah, she's the bull to the
absolutely. Yeah. Works for me, man. Works for me. I mean, again, printing money. Anyway, that's enough of that nonsense. Let's talk about the 5-star Grand Prix because, of course, the first show, the opening round of the 5-star Grand Prix did take place on the 18th of July from Ota Water City Gym, the Ibarra Wave arena, if you will. The announced attendance inside that venue, 2,193. So, a couple of caveats to this. It is a 13.54% decrease from the previous time the company ran the venue, which is when they ran for Crimson Nightmare in November, 2,490 they drew to that. It's also a 30.23% decrease from the 2025 5-star Grand Prix finals. Okay, so the previous 2 times they've ran Ota Ward. However, it is still a healthy 18.7% increase from last year's opening night, which they drew 1,700, I believe. I think it was 1,783, making this show the highest ever attendance for the opening night of the 5-star Grand Prix. So yes, it might not have the same as, the Crimson Nightmare show, which was main evented by Momo and Saya, or indeed the 5-star Grand Prix finals, which were of course the 5-star Grand Prix finals. Still an incredibly good number for Stardom to open up this 5-star Grand Prix. Obviously, the two main matches, aside from your tournament matches, IWGP Women's Championship on the line. Natsupoi challenging for the first time, her first singles title challenge since losing to Saya Kamitani in Sapporo 362 days ago. And of course, Natsupoi never having beaten Syuri in a singles match. She's 0-2-1 at the moment against the champion. And of course, we also have the Triangle of Madness challenging Dream Trine for those artist belts. Let's go through these results then. I do just want to point out that we are not going through any of the non-tournament matches or the non-title matches. So the first three matches, we're literally just giving you sensual match ratings, and then we're going to go through and do the matches afterwards. So we opened on the 0 hour, as it was called. Singles match, Azumi defeated Fuwa-chan with the numero uno in 6 minutes and 11 seconds.
5 and excuse me, not 5, 3.5. I didn't mean to be funny. 3.5. So I got 5-star Grand Prix on my mind.
Love it. Just it broke your brain. I love it. 8-woman tag match. Starlight Kid, Maki Ito, Tami Hayashishita, and Kyoko Katatsu defeated Waka Tsukiyama, Rian, Matoi Hamabe, and Emma Maishima. Utami pinning Emma after a lariat in 7 minutes and 28 seconds.
3.5 stars. I got it right that time.
8-woman tag. The hate team of Saya Kamitani, Natsu Katora, Konami, and Rina defeated Suzu Suzuki, Hanan, Sioriano, and Maika. Rina pinning the Wonder of Stardom champion with the Pink Devil in 7 minutes and 28 seconds.
3 3/4 stars.
We're now getting into the tournament matches and the title matches, so we will be going into these in detail. Red Stars A, Sayaka Kurara moved to 2 points, defeating Akira Kuragane with the Tokameki Spear in 6 minutes. Blue Stars B match, Momo Watanabe moved to 2 points, defeating Yuna Mizumori with the Hidden Otashi driver in 9 minutes and 41 seconds. Blue Stars B, Koguma moved to 2 points, defeating Kikyo Furusawa with the German suplex in 7 minutes and 34 seconds. Blue Stars A, again, Ruaka moving to 2 points, defeating Miyu Amasaki with her straight jacket suplex in 4 minutes and 6 seconds. Red Stars B, Sayurida moving to 2 points, defeating Azusa Inaba with a lariat in 7 minutes and 56 seconds. Red Stars B again, Meistera moving to 2 points, defeating Rina Yamashita with the reverse shooting star in 8 minutes and 41 seconds. Red Stars A, Tsukioki moved to 2 points, defeating Tomoka Inaba with the Rasha Scissors in 9 minutes and 52 seconds. Blue Stars A was your final tournament match. Aya Sakura securing her first ever singles victory over Hanako at the 7th time of asking to move to 2 points with the Blooming Dream in 13 minutes and 36 seconds in what was a fantastic match. Artist of Stardom Championships, Triangle of Madness, Tekla, Julia Hart, and Sky Blue. They defeated Dream Trine, Amisori, Hina, and Lady C, with Tekla pinning Amisori with the curb stomp in 13 minutes and 55 seconds to become the 37th Artist of Stardom champions. Dream Trine end their reign at 53 days, becoming the shortest reigning champions since Restart, which was in early 2023. It's the 9th shortest reign ever. And then in your main event, IWGP Women's Championship match, Syuri defeats Natsupoi with the Vermilion World in 20 minutes and 52 seconds to secure her 6th successful title defense of the IWGP Women's Championship. So, Matt, let's kick straight into the tournament. Sayaka Kurara going up against Akira Kuragane. Akira Kuragane, one of 5 tournament debutantes. How do you think she did in her opening fair against Sayaka Kurara, who I must admit has really impressed me in this tournament so far?
I think that was the idea of her giving that little short title run and then having that banger of a match with the Suzu Suzuki back at the conversion. was to put more steam upon her. Again, that's one of the reasons why I picked her to go to the playoffs. Again, we'll see how that all plays out in the upcoming weeks. This is a great opener here for Akira. At 6 minutes to play with, I wish they would have got a little more time, but there was a lot of matches on the show. Not as many as last year, but there was
Oh, it's
still. I mean,
fantastic.
they still really loaded this card up. So, and again, you'll see that when you have these longer shows, that some of these matches have to be cut for time. But they definitely took advantage of the 6 minutes that they had in here. Kira coming out all sorts of fire. You know, the forearms, the drop kicks, was not intimidated by at all by the former champion. And then once Akira kind of finds that opening, she really makes Akira pay. You know, with the violent shootings, the big spear, the Falcon Arrow. Kira does have a little bit of a comeback here towards the end with then you know, with that big running knee strike. She tries, by she I mean Akira tries for the half hop suplex. However, Sakura blocks that, hits a spear, and then hits another big spear for the 3 count. I said 3 3/4 stars. I think this was a really solid way to start off the tournament. It's a really great way for Akira to start off her first ever 5-star Grand Prix, and a really great way for Sakura to start making her comeback towards maybe the top of the card. Again, we'll see how that all plays out in the upcoming weeks. Again, 3 3/4 stars for me, partner.
I should have said, actually, just getting back, the opening package for this tournament, the it made it feel like the 5-star Grand Prix was the most important thing in the entire world.
It
And the
is.
way, well, yeah, that's true. The way they introduced each of the competitors, Akira Kurogane, by the way, special shout out, looked like an absolute badass with it being backlit. I really enjoyed it. I always enjoy the opening packages because they always do such a good job of them. Felt like this year they'd upped it even more, which I thought was exceptional. What was your thoughts on it?
100%. I think me and you were texting about it. I think on Saturday. I was actually on Saturday. I was watching the beginning of the 2021 5-star Grand Prix because I really want to watch Momo versus Mayu again. And I was watching it, and that's when Starlight Kid first officially turned heel. Like, it wasn't too long after that, and joined a Wedo Tai. And they're doing the packages, and I'm gonna link this up to this year's a reason. They're doing the packages, and Starlight Kid and Saki Kashima are just like screwing around. And I couldn't, like, I'm like, there's a zoom. I'm like, okay, I like his. I was like, what's Starlight Kid and Saki Kashima doing? It's really drew my attention away from they're like two kids in the back of the bus just like clowning around. It kind of drew my attention away from everything else that was going on. So with this, everybody had their individual moment. And it almost reminded me, Rob, of like a video game character selection screen. Like, are you going to choose
Yes.
Micah? Are you going to choose like it just kept like it would go dark, and then it's this person and go dark, and like it was only for a few seconds, but everybody had their moment. And it was different. We've seen, I think in 2023 they did the thing with like the glass or whatever, and then in 2022 they did it with the Komomo ropes. They always do such a great job, and they make it different. Like, I mean, maybe a possible roundtable discussion to be a quick one, but maybe we'll do a roundtable discussion. What's like your favorite one that they've ever done? But this one definitely ranks up there. It was different. It made everybody feel special. Everybody got their little moment to kind of introduce who they were. I loved it. I thought this was one of the best ones they've ever done. And they've done a really great job over these last few years. You're absolutely right. It's the presentation to make it feel like it is the most important thing in the world. Way more important than that worked game in Atlanta that Rob was upset about last week.
Still not over it, bro. Still not over
It's a
it.
work, brother.
Yuna Mizumori and Momo Watanabe. Momo Watanabe's first singles match since November 2025, by the way, it is worth pointing out due to that injury. I sometimes forget with Yuna Mizumori being the high-speed champion, I sometimes forget how powerful she actually is. And it's only when she wrestles people like Momo Watanabe when you remember that actually she can hit really hard. And there was a portion of this match where she was actually on top of Momo. Obviously, Momo came from behind, won the match quite comfortably in the end. But credit to Yuna. I thought, again, you said about Akira making the most of 6 minutes. I thought these two, especially Yuna, did a lot with what the time they had.
This was phenomenal. And this was terrific. We mentioned during our primer, like, this tournament's gonna do a lot for Yuna because she's in that block of death, as we said it.
Absolutely.
We don't think she's gonna get many wins, but I mean, she's in there with the best of the best, not even Joshi, but all wrestling, with obviously Watanabe here, Kamatani, Starlight Kid, Hana, and again, we'll see how the rest of her tournament does play out. But I like how Momo Watanabe was the strategist here. It's like, I have more experience than Yuna. I won this tournament last year. I'm one of the best Wonder champions of all time. I, you know, like where's the only weakness here? Yuna's high speed champion. She's faster than me. So what does Momo do? Take out the legs, like low kicks right in the beginning. But then Yuna's getting frustrated and she realized, like, okay, she clearly knows my strategy. I need to go to something else. Oh, I throw a lot of lariats, hard hitting lariats, and different style of lariats. So now it upped the intensity there. So it's like the lariats versus the kicks and the forearms. And this is really hard hitting pretty much from the get go here. As we're getting building towards the end, Momo hits a penalty kick for a 2 count. Momo goes for a tequila sunrise, but Yuna rolls up Momo. And the way that Momo was selling it was like for a split second, you thought maybe Yuna was going to get the win. And again, it's the 5-star Grand Prix. We've seen this before. Nagi beating. Go ahead.
There have been, sorry, there have, just you saying that, there have been
Please.
some sensational near falls in this tournament so far. There was one from Tomoka Inaba, I believe, on night 2, the match with Tora. There was a fantastic one between Syuri and Lady C. So some real, like, not just 2.5. I'm talking about 2.99 counts. There was one from, was it Koguma and Hanan? I think it might have been Koguma and Hanan.
There's a bunch of them.
Yeah, when Koguma had the Kuma roll locked in, and Hanan did such a good job of flailing and showing how much trouble she was in. And yeah, that's just reminded me some really, really good kickouts in this tournament so far.
And again, for a split, I guess the 5-star Grand Prix, these upsets can happen. So you're thinking, like, wow, Momo won this tournament last year. Is she gonna lose in her first match? And that would ultimately just elevate Yuna Mizumori. Even if Yuna won this match and she won with that roll up, even if she lost the rest of the matches, like, hey, she beat the former champion of this last year. You know what I mean? And that would really make her. But again, Momo did a great job selling, putting Yuna over. Eventually, Momo comes back with a head kick. Momo ducks a lariat attempt. She hits this release tequila sunrise. Yuna was she must have been watching her All Japan in the 90s. She's like, can you drop me on my head? And Momo's like, yeah, sure. She's like, no, I mean, like, really, really.
Folded like an accordion. It was ridiculous.
And not only that, but like Yuna got hang time. Like usually when I take those suplexes, I'm like, it's like almost she was in the air. I'm like, this isn't gonna. I guess it gave her enough time to tuck her chin and just to make sure she was okay. But yowzers, I mean, dropping Yuna all the way at the other side of the ring. Obviously, Yuna was fine, and then the head kick, and then the inhumane driver for the 3 count, which the finish made sense because towards the end, Momo was just going to the head with the forearms with so many different kicks and with that insane release tequila sunrise. I love this. This may be my favorite non-high speed match from Yuna, non-like title match, like as far as like straight up singles matches goes. This was fantastic. Obviously, again, as you mentioned, Momo's first singles match since the Crimson Nightmare against Saya Kamatani, right? So if anybody was wondering if Watanabe had any ring rust, it was clearly taken away here in about 90 seconds because this is just Momo reminding everybody why she's one of the best wrestlers ever in this company. Still very much in her prime, still very young. I mean, there is a lot to look forward to Momo Watanabe. 4.25 stars. I was like, okay, the first match was kind of like, hey, warming up. Here we go. I'm like, nope, here we go. It's 5-star, baby. It's 5-star, baby. Here we go. Yeah, 4.25 stars. Absolutely love this.
I said during the primer that Koguma is someone who surprises a lot of people, where she goes from comedy to seriously very good wrestler in the blink of an eye. And spoiler, with the exception of one other person, she has been my tournament MVP. All 3 of her matches so far have been fantastic, and I think she brought out the best of Kikyo Furusawa. I think Kikyo worked really, really well with Koguma. I think Koguma really sold a lot of Submission Blast, which is Kikyo Furusawa's nickname, which is tremendous. A lot of her offense really, really well. And it made her feel like a genuine threat. I don't think there was ever any doubt that Koguma was going to win, but Kikyo getting those little pockets really, really helped. I am just going to say that whoever designed Koguma's gear needs to sort out that, I think it's a left leg like sleeve. The amount of times that she's walking out of the ring and it is just flapping off her foot like that. She needs to tighten it, or she needs to tie it to something, because it's only that leg every time.
Yeah, and it seems like it was kind of giving her fits. I think it was on the 3rd show where she was like, just going to leave it. Just going to leave it. But yeah, you're absolutely right. This was great. 7 minutes, which I thought was really the opportune time here for Kikyo Furusawa, because you don't want to give her too much too soon, because sometimes when you get into those late stages of the match, it could be a little tricky. But Kikyo's come a long way in a short time. And this one, as far as like the undercard matches go, this one really over delivered for me. But you're right. I mean, you had your
Absolutely.
comedy, but then you had a great psychology. You had the different levels of the ankle locks, you had the different ways of Kikyo Furusawa trying to figure out the puzzle that is Koguma. And eventually, Koguma just goes back to a finish we haven't seen in quite some time, like that high angle German suplex. And it's just like, wowzers, like what a great wrestler she is. And she still has like the bulk of the main eventers coming up. Like, as you mentioned before, maybe your tournament MVP coming off the first 3 days, and she's still got like the kid and the Kamatani match to go. So interesting to see how else it goes for her. This is a great, obviously we all wanted Hazuki in this tournament. Hazuki not in the tournament. Obviously, she's in the States. Might be a blessing in disguise from Koguma, because as great as she is, it's Hazuki, and we all gravitate towards what a one-on-one wrestler Hazuki is. Where Koguma's like, I'm in the block of death, as we christened it last week, buddy, or 2 weeks ago. Maybe it's her time to show what a great singles wrestler she is. And maybe somewhere down the line, Rob, maybe she gets a wonder shot or a red belt shot coming off this, or an IWGP. Super serious Koguma against Syuri. That's a match I would really like to see. Can Syuri slay the bear? Another story for another day. Love this match. Yes. And she hates the bear dance. It's the only thing that scares Syuri. It's her kryptonite. Yeah, I know. It is 3 and 3/4 stars. This match, out of all these matches, were great. I mean, to the shock of nobody, everything really delivered. This match to me, not only on this night, but the first 3 nights we're reviewing, is the match that over delivered the most for me.
Yeah, I mean, again, Koguma has been one of my MVPs. This and the match with Syuri I thought was fantastic as well. Obviously, the match with Hanan on night 3, which we'll be talking about as well. Tomoka Inabe and Itsuki Aoki. I enjoyed this match. We thought this was going to be really good. Tomoka Inabe targeting Itsuki Aoki's arm. Unfortunately, can't quite do enough before Itsuki Aoki hits the Rashi scissors to actually secure the victory. Looks very frustrated with herself, which would obviously play into her matches later on, where she would go on a little bit of a tear, especially against the leader of Hate in what was a great match, which I thoroughly enjoyed on night 2. But what were your thoughts on this one?
Did you go over a few matches, buddy? Wasn't Miyu Amasaki versus Ruaka next?
Oh, maybe.
Right,
we can do that one if you want. Go for it, brother.
I enjoy this. That damn hate crate. 4 minutes. It looked like Miyu was going to get her first win. This is what Ruaka's here to do. Piss people off. Pardon my language. She's the Jeff Jarrett of this tournament. She's here to piss us all off. Picking up the win over Miyu Amasaki, getting a little bit of revenge for Miyu and Nazumi, taking the tag belts off Ruaka and Tor, better known as BMI 2000, back at the Yokohama Arena. I thought this was fun. Again, 4 minutes. What it really did is just Miyu's just doing great Miyu wrestling, and Ruaka's like, yeah, hate crate, run-ins, all that BS. Eventually Ruaka with the cross-arm German for the 3 count. I had 3.5 stars, good sir.
Yep, don't know why it's gone in that order at all, but there we are. I was just in the flow. So we'll talk about Syuri and Azusa Inaba next, because that was next on the card. Go on.
This was phenomenal. Yeah, they went about 8 minutes. And of course, I would like this to go 10, 12, 13, 14. But sometimes, Rob, all you need is 8 minutes when it's nothing but bombs. One of the most loved fights in the history of not just MMA, but just fights is Don Fry versus Takayama. That didn't need to go long, because it's just as soon as the bell rang, it was bombs being thrown. That's what was here. Kicks, forearms, chops, lots of chops. And then it gets to a point where Saida is really taking a lot from Azusa Inaba. And Azusa Inaba is really showing great resilience here. We made mention, we talked a little bit last week of Azusa Inaba working more as a baby face with that match against Kamatani back at JTO. And if they eventually go, I mean, Azusa Inaba is young. Eventually, she's going to be working as a babyface. I mean, you can't be a heel 40 years, not unless you dump Matsumoto. Anywho, we do see a lot of resilience and a lot of fighting spirit from her. So I think like when it's time for her to have a babyface run, she's going to be great, because we saw it here. And you see Saida getting a little frustrated, and then Saida just breaks out lariat after lariat. And I love how the finish is lariat, not yet, another lariat, like back-to-back lariats, putting away Azusa Inaba. Brother, I had this at 4.25 stars. I love this. I knew what I was going to get, and I got it in spades. But a lot of fighting spirit from the one Azusa Inaba. And Saida really had to empty the tank here to put away Azusa Inaba. Again, showing a lot of fighting spirit from Azusa Inaba. So if they ever do pull the trigger on a baby face run from her, I still like her as this kind of heel bratty persona, like kind of her and Hina as kind of the 1-2 punch there in hate. But a lot of potential here for Azusa Inaba. Again, 4.25 stars as the gorilla getting the win.
Mei Seira and Rina Yamashita. So I said one of my MVPs of the tournament was Koguma. My other one is Rina Yamashita. I think she has been absolutely tremendous. It's quite funny how someone with braids looks terrifyingly imposing, then straightens her hair and somehow looks even more imposing. The way that she's able to meld comedy wrestling, just little funny spots, and she did it especially with Azusa Inaba, but that match tickled me no end. But even here, where she's trying to do the kip up and she can't, trying to match Mei Seira's speed and she can't, but then kicks into super serious Rina Yamashita and has a full-on, really enjoyable wrestling match with Mei Seira. Thoroughly enjoyed this. But we also said, right, okay, let's see how Mei Seira wrestles a bigger, more powerful opponent. Because again, we know that she is possibly tipped for a red belt shot or a white belt shot coming out of this tournament. Let's see how she wrestles a style that's not solely based around her high speed. And I think we got this here. A great match, great back and forth, and ultimately a great win for Mei Seira heading into the rest of the tournament.
I agree with you on all fronts, buddy. Obviously, Rina, she's wrestled. Obviously, Utami's only had one match. Micah's only had one match. Azumi's only had one match. But if you're asking me an MVP of the tournament on the first weekend, I'm with you. I'm going to say Rina. We even said that, I think it was even before the primer when she was announced for this tournament. We're like, yes, now the Stardom fan base is going to see what a phenomenal wrestler Rina is. And we got it right here. I mean, we really did. This is two different styles that worked. My only little complaint, and I get it and I understand it, I wish it would have went 12 or 13 minutes because it really seemed like when they were kicking to that next gear, Rina goes to put away Mei Seira. And I love the finish. Mei is able, because Mei is so elusive. Mei gets out of the splash mountain and then is able to do that shooting star roll up and almost catches Rina. So I get it. It is the 5-star Grand Prix. There's a lot of roll up attempts. And that one might be that and the Izumi Sushi are probably the two most deadly of all of the roll up attempts we see here in Stardom. So I like the finish. I just wish it went a little bit longer, but I get it because we still have about 4 more matches to go through. But yeah, this is great. You had the hard hitting, the high speed. Like I like how Mei Seira, as soon as the bell rings, big drop kick, and she's trying to really take it to Rina. Once Rina gets a little bit of distance, she hits a big lariat, a big boot, and she starts pouring on the violence from Mei Seira. And we see Mei Seira with a great comeback. Mei Seira throwing these drop kicks at your head 1,000 miles an hour is something really scary. But then just Rina just with great fire as well. And then I like how Mei goes to put Rina away with the checkmate. However, Rina blocks that, hits this huge lariat that leads to her attempt at the Splash Mountain. But again, Mei's able to get out and is able to get that advantage just for that split second to roll up Rina for the 3 count. I had this brother at 4 stars. Loved it. Loved it.
Can I please talk about Tomoka Inaba and Natsuki Aoki now?
I think it is time, my man. I think it is time. I think what you did is it's like a high spot. Like, oh, I'm going to give it to you. Like, no, not yet. Like, oh, now you can, as we're building up Rina Yamashita's tag partner, buddy. See, that's what you did there.
There you go.
Cheers.
It's because I do it on my iPad and apparently it just hasn't synced the latest version of it because I've just realized it's missing Ruaka and Rian from Night 2. So we'll just skate over that. It's fine. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this match. Tomoka Inaba is coming at this tournament very aggressively, matching aggression with aggression. We saw it here with Itsuki Aoki refusing the whole sort of good-natured welcome at the start, very focused, very solid in attacking the arm, just as she was solid in attacking Natsukatori's knee, which was such a good match. I'm really looking forward to talking about that match. But ultimately, can't quite do enough before Itsuki Aoki's power advantage kicks in and she gets the win with the Rasher Scissors. A solid tournament debut for Itsuki Aoki. A really good, solid opening for Tomoka Inaba.
I like how after Aoki won, as she's leaving, she's holding her arm. Like, ooh, that's the winner. Like, that's the winner. She does a great job selling Tomoka's brutal offense. But I like, obviously, Tomoka's known for her kicks. That's her main weapon. But we've seen already, and we've seen it before in other matches throughout the years of her brilliant young career. Like, she uses the kicks to kind of set up for submissions. But here we're seeing it on the arm, and again, Tora with the leg, and again, we'll get into it. So it's not like just the usual head kick or mid kick, which again, I'm never, I'm always a big fan of. But we're seeing her kicks with purpose, setting up submissions, whether it's kicking to the arm to go to the Fujiwara armbar that we saw here, and to take away the power from Aoki. And again, we'll get in the match with Tora, how she uses the kick to set up for the Inaba stranglehold. Yeah, this was great. Tomoka Inaba, after I watched that third show, I was like, she's in a tough block as well. Maybe it's time to really push Tomoka and have her go to the playoffs and have a deep run in that playoffs. Like, who wouldn't want to see Tomoka and Hanan for the Wonder Belt? Who want to see Tomoka versus Suzu Suzuki or Momo Watanabe or Sai Kamatani or Mike or whoever in the next 5 or 6 months is the Red Belt champion? She's such a special talent, and Stardom is so stacked with so many great wrestlers and so many great stories going on in Stardom right now, especially now Utami coming back. And then you have this great top crop of young wrestlers coming up over the last 2 or 3 years, that somehow Tomoka Inaba gets lost in the shuffle. And sometimes that just happens. Maybe this is the tournament to kind of not repackage, but basically show everybody, hey, this wrestler is fantastic. Don't forget about her. And she was great here. A little shocked that Aoki got the win here. This is one of the ones I did get wrong on my predictions, which again, by the way, folks, I will be going over me and my wife's predictions after each and every show. But I love this one. I thought this was a hard-hitting nature. This was right up my alley. Hard-hitting, great Joshi Puro wrestling right in your face, the way that it's meant to be. 4.25 stars for me. Again, I thought this was just terrific.
Speaking of terrific, the last tournament match, Aya Sakura and Hanako. I thoroughly enjoyed this match. I think this is Hanako's best singles match in a while. I think Aya Sakura brought that fire that she promised she was going to bring in the press conference, and you felt the weight of expectation on Aya because, of course, she'd been made captain of Cosmic Angels, hasn't got a victory in 6 previous matches with Hanako. There was a lot riding for her on this, and you could see from the caginess of the opening to the aggression in the closing stages, this match meant a lot to Aya Sakura, and for her to get the victory in the way she did get the victory, breaking out the Blooming Dream, I think was a really good statement of intent for her heading into the rest of the tournament. And again, like I say, I thought Hanako was fantastic here.
This is a lot of pressure putting on Aya and Hanako, because basically you're the main event of the 5-star Grand Prix portion of this show. Opening night of the 5-star Grand Prix since its inception has always been a big deal. And this is the last tournament match you're going to see. And I thought this was the best tournament match of night one.
Yeah,
I mean,
agreed.
It's razor thin. I mean, Momo Watanabe and Yuna is up there. The match we just talked about with Aoki and Tomoka Inaba was up there. Ida and the other Inaba sister was up there. But I think this one just barely beats. Those matches we just talked about in this one, I all had the 4.25 stars. But I like this one just a little bit better because I think of just the background. Like there was a little bit more on the line than just 2 points. And I love how Aya just goes right after Hanako, like goes with the kicks, goes in the triangle choke. And we've seen Hanako get out of the triangle choke with a rampage bomb, and she goes and she hits it, but then Aya keeps it locked on. Like, ooh, like that's just so important. Then Hanako is able to come back. She is able to get out of the triangle choke, forearms, shoulder tackles, lariats, and now she's starting to build up steam. Aya Sakura is on the back foot, but then she uses great defensive wrestling where, like, Hanako keeps charging at me here. I can't stop her, but let me try to use the ring to my advantage. And Hanako comes charging at Aya for like the 3rd or 4th time in like 2 minutes. And Aya low bridges Hanako. Hanako's over the top rope. If this was the Royal Rumble, Aya Sakura goes to WrestleMania. Unfortunately, Rob, it's a better show than the Royal Rumble. It is the 5-star Grand Prix. Yeah, I said it. Back in the ring we go. We get the Aya with the Joshi dropkick for a 2 count. And then we get a forearm low kick trade off. And again, I like how Aya, very much like Tomoka Inaba, using psychology with her strikes. Hanako's bigger, stronger. Let me try to chop down the tree. I really like that. And like how Hanako's registering the leg kicks, like, forearm, another leg kick, forearm. And then like after the 3rd forearm, there's not much on there because she can't get the weight behind her leg to get her balance because of Aya with the kicks. It's just those little subtle things that just make storytelling and wrestling so much better. And in that exchange, really took it to another level here. We do get Hanako hits a Samoan drop. She goes for the big Bruiser Brody style running knee, but Aya is able to get out of the way. Back and forth these two go. Hanako places Aya on the top rope. It's a big superplex and then a huge running boot for a 2 count. And then we do have Hanako goes for the JP coaster. However, Aya Sakura lands on her feet from that and just starts kicking the crap out of Hanako here, like really putting the boots to Hanako. And then we get here towards the end. Aya Sakura blocks the JP coaster again for the second time, hits the cherry blossom kick trio, and all those kicks that she's been working on literally a whole entire match leads to the big climax at the end of this match. The Blooming Dream, her version of the German suplex for the 3 count, 4.25 stars. I thought the genius of this match was Stardom giving these two time to tell their story. 13.5 minutes. They were able to tell so many stories, register the selling, and just build and build and build. Again, that's why to me, this was the best tournament match of night one.
We've already talked about sort of the wider repercussions of Triangle of Madness dethroning Dream Trine. Let's talk about the match itself. And I do just want to start with, and I know that I am no Andy Header, I do want to talk a little bit about Lady C's gear. Now, I know she makes the gear herself, and I'm willing to overlook some of the chaps for that. I'm not sure about the gear she came out in here, Matt. It sort of looked like she'd been marooned on a desert island for a little while.
I thought it was an upgrade. I thought it was an upgrade. Yeah,
I disagree. I much prefer the white and black. Much prefer it.
So you like NWO, ladies. A lot of NWO references on this.
Absolutely. Why not?
You know what? I mean, the NWO did come out 30 years ago. If somebody would have wrote a book recently about the year 1996, Rob Goodwin has written about. I love it how I use this match to plug your book.
I love it.
On Amazon, Monday Night Wars, Part 1, 1996, available right now. So get that and whatever else you want to get. I enjoyed this match. Again, not as good as some of the artist matches we've seen in the past, which again just goes to show you how great the artist matches have been these last few years. Again, I had it at 4 stars, but I think it was more about the story they told towards the end, where it just seemed like that Dream Trine, God's Eye, as I still may call them, or Ami Sori, Hina, and Lady C, they just seem to work well, like better than anybody as a trio. But I like this Tekla team worked as a trio, and I liked how they highlighted Julia Hart, which makes sense because who's going to be coming back for the remainder of this tournament in the next week? Julia Hart. So they did make sure she looked good. I thought we talked about it last week when we talked about this match. We knew that Sky Blue was going to be eating all the big moves. I mean, she took a beating from Lady C, took a beating from Ami Sori. Hina looked terrific here. And again, if they're going to send maybe somebody over from Stardom to wrestle Tekla in like a singles match, like for Tekla to get another win, maybe on AEW TV, and to get another Stardom wrestler on AEW TV to further the story, give me Hina versus Tekla on AEW TV for 10, 11 minutes. Because I thought their exchanges worked really well together. And again, we mentioned this about an hour or so ago, partner, and I'll just kind of touch base upon it real quick. Tekla was pinned in the middle of the ring. Clear win. Ami Sori hit that like a thunderbolt, and I was like, Julia Hart was nowhere to be found. Sky Blue was nowhere to be found. It was in the middle of the ring, and I was like, are they going to pin Tekla here? And I saw the way the referee was laid out, and I'm like, he's clearly Tekla was a member of hate. Like, clearly she knows, hey, if somebody's getting pinned and the referee's legs are anywhere by the rope, you yank that ref out. And again, we saw the missed belt shots. I mean, it took so much cheating to put down Ami Sori with Triangle Madness getting the win. Again, 4 stars. There's definitely a better match in them. And again, I think they're saving that for a later date, whether it's in Sumo Hall, whether it's in Korakuen Hall. I don't know, but I wouldn't be shocked if in the next 5 to 6 weeks that Ami Sori, Hina, and Lady C win those belts back.
Moving on then to the main event, Syuri versus Natsupoi, which should surprise no one when they hear that this was the match of the 3 shows. This was absolutely phenomenal. We did say during the preview that no one takes a beating like Natsupoi. And whilst that rings true here, I mean, the poor woman took an apron shot spine first within about a minute and a half of the match. Like,
it's a rematch.
Yeah, like the Syuri. Just Natsupoi, please, I'm begging you, just stop. First of all, came out looking like an absolute $1,000,000. The yellow gear, incredible. What we need to really highlight is the emotion. and the passion that Natsupoi wrestles with. I was so invested in this match. I didn't think for a minute that Natsupoi was winning this match. But I found myself found myself supporting Natsupoi, and I love Syuri. But that emotion, that drama, that drive that Natsupoi brings to high stakes title matches is A, why I wish she was in the red belt scene more often, and B, why she is one of the best singles competitors this company has. I thought this was an absolutely tremendous main event. One of the best singles matches Stardom have had this year. One of Syuri's best IWGP Women's Championship defenses, which is saying something because there's a great catalogue of defenses, and arguably one of Natsupoi's best performances of the last 2 years, maybe, since she dropped the white belt. Absolutely phenomenal stuff from her. And again, we know how good a wrestler she is, but this was so much. It was the complete performance from Natsupoi here. And seeing this, obviously we don't know what's going on backstage or, why she's not in the tournament, but it does make you so frustrated as to why she's not in the tournament.
Yeah, this was great. And I had a lot of people ask me, was this the best Natsupoi match? Some of the Soripoi stuff I think was maybe a touch better than this, but that just goes to show you how great the Soripoi stuff was. You just touched upon it, but I'm glad that you said it. Maybe Natsupoi's best singles match outside of the Starlight Kid championship match at Dream Queendom 2024. Again, there's no wrong answer, but this was great. You're absolutely right. Probably one of, if not the best singles match Stardom this year. The only one that I've liked better is Kamatani versus Kid back in Supreme Fight, and then Kamatani and Sayaka Kurora back at All-Star Grand Queendom. So this is probably third right now. Who knows what the rest of this tournament's going to shake out. But this was phenomenal. I'll tell you right now, 5 stars. Maybe Natsupoi's best singles match. It's either this or, again, the match where she loses the Wonder of Stardom Championship to Starlight Kid back at Dream Queendom 2024. And again, Syuri. What a wrestler. What a wrestler. Not only that, but we probably knew once this belt was formed towards the end of 2022, after about 6 or 7 months, we're like, yeah, New Japan doesn't care about it. New Japan doesn't care about it. But it's been some of the best matches in wrestling over the last 3 years, whether it was Kairi with the belt or Mercedes with the belt, or of course Mayu with the belt. And then we've got kind of a little bit of a flip-flop with Syuri, and back to Syuri. Some of the best matches in wrestling for the IWGP Joshi Championship. And to me, it's almost as important as the red and the white belt. Again, it goes to show you that in any show, the red belt, you can get a 5-star match. The Wonder belt, you can get a 5-star match. And here, the IWGP Joshi, this is 5 stars for me. I love this match. I thought this was great. You might, Natsupoi, new gear, kind of little yellow, a little more gold towards it. Whole new headdress, looked like $1 million. The bell rings, Syuri turns around. Natsupoi just Germans Syuri, and then he goes to the outside, and then after they shook hands. So a little dastardly Natsupoi, but that just goes to show you how important this belt is. And then German Syuri onto the apron. You're like, oh, eventually it's going to come. Eventually Syuri's going to get her revenge of this match. How fast is it going to happen? 20 seconds later, when Syuri just body slams Natsupoi off the top rope onto the apron, which is kind of like Natsupoi's spot. I've noticed that going back watching Natsupoi big matches over the last 2 years. She loves taking a body slam off the turnbuckle onto and not only does she hit the apron, but then she crashes onto the floor. It's like pinball. A lot of pinball references on this episode, brother.
Simpsons pinball.
Yeah, Simpsons pinball, baby. So back in the ring we go. Syuri just starts pouring on the offense. Just the half-out suplex and the kicks, the forearms. Natsupoi comes back. Natsupoi hits a great spin kick. Tries the maiden Japoi, which I do like the psychology behind that. Does not able to get. We got Natsupoi with the Casadora Bulldog into the dive, and then Natsupoi with the basement drop kick. Natsupoi with the cross body for a 2 count. When Syuri kicks out, Natsupoi puts Syuri into the cross arm breaker, and Syuri's selling to that was brilliant. She didn't oversell, but she's just like, wait, submissions, this is my thing. And we've seen Natsupoi over the last few years really dabble into working the arm. She's able to get here. And then Natsupoi just starts basically playing her best Muhammad Ali as we're building towards the third act of this match, where she's just ducking a lot of the stuff Syuri's throwing. Like she's really getting Syuri off her game, which we really don't see. It's more like she again, more like the Muhammad Ali float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Like she's having Syuri throw these strikes and she's able to duck or dodge, little dodgeball reference, duck, dodge, dive. I guess. Yeah, I guess if you can dodge Syuri strikes, you can dodge a ball, right, Rob? At this point, that's what happened here. And then Natsupoi hits a big stiff slap to Syuri and then a German suplex. Like, oh, Natsupoi, didn't you just learn from what happened early on in the match? Poi hits not one, but two Pharaoh gifts back to back. I like that. That was a really great falsie because a lot of people bid on that. Hitting her big move back to back, scores a 2.9 count. Syuri blocks the maiden Japoi. However, Natsupoi then comes back with a Pharaoh ring for a 2.9 count. And then Syuri comes back with a brutal knee strike, starts pouring on the forearms and the kicks. We do have that, and I knew this was coming. Once this match was announced, and we have to see this for a falsie. Syuri does the spot where she does the head kick and then the headbutt to the back of the head of Natsupoi that usually sets up for the Vermilion World. But as she has Natsupoi for the Vermilion World, Natsupoi does the Pharaoh blink. And I actually bid on that falsie. That was a 2.9. Natsupoi for the third time hits the maiden Japoi. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. They count to one, and then Syuri's looking at the referee, and I was like, oh no. However, Syuri kicked out I literally have my notes, 2.99999. I mean, she held on to that for last possible second. Syuri comes back with a head kick and the ruin for 2 count. Syuri just hits buzzsaw kick after buzzsaw kick, brutal headbutt, and then finally hits the Vermilion World for the 3 count. Almost 21 minutes of phenomenal action. Considering the opening spot of this match was German suplex on the apron. Natsupoi eats it on the apron, and it just builds and builds, and they take you on this emotional roller coaster. That again, I thought that that Syuri was going to win, but there was a few times where they blurred the lines, and I thought Natsupoi was going to be able to pull out the victory. What a phenomenal match! They embrace afterwards. This is one of the best matches I've seen in wrestling all year. Natsupoi never disappoints. And again, we talk about the greatest Joshi wrestlers over the last 5 or 6 years. I mean, it's Mayu Iwatani. Syuri's right there as well. I mean, Syuri is knocking on that door of greatness. She's one of the best I have seen in the world of Joshi wrestling, and one of the most consistent, really, since like 2020. I mean, big match Syuri is just as good as any big match wrestler we've seen, post COVID. So Syuri's a special wrestler. She really, really is. So, I can't wait to see what she does over here in the States. And then when she gets back to Japan again, my guess is she's going to be on that Sumo Hall show, Rob, probably defending that IWGP Joshi champ. We just talked about her and Shira Hashimoto had an instant classic, in Korakuen Hall that took place 2 days after this match. So hopefully maybe they run that back. But I mean, smart money is going to tell me that you're going to see Syuri defending that championship in Sumo Hall on the 23rd of, I think that's the final date, right? August 23rd?
August 23rd, yeah.
Yeah, I got one right. But because I know I'm getting on a plane a few days after that to see you, buddy. But anywho, yeah, 5 stars for me, brother. This is why I love wrestling. This is why it's so easy for me to get up early and stay up late to watch this. This was the last match. This got over at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I got up at 9:30. So this was, I'm not gonna lie, I was dragging a little bit there towards the middle of this card. Like once this match started, it's just the adrenaline kicked in. Plus, I had about a pot of coffee and a whole bunch of branched chain amino acids throwing this match, buddy. And Uncle MT was a happy camper, that's for sure.
Absolutely sensational match between these two.
Mr. Goodwin, before we get to the next show, night 1, Amber 5, Uncle MT 6. So I have the 1 point advantage going into night 2.
Now, I always really enjoy these because you're so happy with yourself for having beaten your wife who doesn't watch wrestling and doesn't watch the promotion.
I hope nobody clip that. You're happy for beating your wife. That does not happen.
Yeah, fingers crossed. No one.
I will say, I will say this though. After Amber does doing their predictions, she's like, "Don't forget, I get a 3 to 5 point handicap at the end of this tournament." I was like, "Whatever you say, honey. Whatever you say."
Let's move on to night 2 then of the 5-star Grand Prix, 19th of July in Toyohashi, the Loiza Hotel at Toyohashi Holiday Hall in Aichi. I know I've mispronounced that. I think it's Loiseau, I think. We'll go with that. 857 people in attendance, regardless. First time the venue was hosted in night of the 5-star Grand Prix, and it is a 17.23% increase on their previous house at the venue, which was 731 in October 2025, making it the company's highest attendance of the 6 shows they have now run at the venue. So a second consecutive really good number for Stardom in this 5-star Grand Prix. Just like before, we're only talking about tournament matches. So after the undercard, get ready for Matt's results. So we open with a tag team match. Syuri Ano and the birthday girl Natsupoi defeated Motoi Hamabe and Emma Maishima. Natsupoi getting the win over Emma with the Poi lock in 8 minutes and 32 seconds.
I love this match. 4 stars.
Was very good. Now, all tournament action. Blue Stars B, Hanan moves to 2 points, defeating Kikyo Furusawa with the blockbuster at 7 minutes and 34 seconds. Blue Stars B, Koguma moves to 4 points, defeating Amisori, who stays on 0, with the Kuma roll in 7 minutes and 8 seconds. Blue Stars A, Ruaka moves to 4 points, defeating Rian, who has brand new gear, by the way, with a second rope splash in 5 minutes and 34 seconds. Red Stars B, Maki Ito makes her 5-star Grand Prix debut and moves to 2 points, defeating Mei Seira, who also stays on 2, submitting her with the Ito Deluxe in 10 minutes and 23 seconds, which some would argue serves Mei right for interrupting Brooklyn the Whole. Red Stars A match next. Tomoka Inaba moves to 2 points, defeating Natsuko Tora, who stays on 0 via disqualification in 8 minutes and 48 seconds. Blue Stars A, in a rematch of their first match of the tournament last year, Suzu Suzuki moves to 2 points, defeating Hina, who stays on 0, with a German suplex in 10 minutes and 35 seconds. Semi-main event, Red Stars B, Rina Yamashita versus Utami Hayashishita, ended in a time limit draw, meaning they both end on 1 point after 15 minutes. And then in your main event, Red Stars A, hometown girl Sayaka Karara moves to 4 points, defeating Rina, who stays on 0, with the Tokameki Spear in 13 minutes and 54 seconds. Matt, let's open with Hanan and Kikyo Furusawa. I don't really anticipate these matches taking as long as night 1 because, again, despite them being good matches, I don't think there was quite the consistency of night 1. I think the highs hit higher, but I think night 1 was a more consistent show.
They were still really great. I think my lowest ranking of these 3 nights, like 3 and 3/4 stars. I'll tell you right now, this is my favorite Kikyo Furusawa. I know she's not like a 20-year vet. This is my favorite Kikyo Furusawa match I've ever seen. I think she really understood. It's like Hanan, who's won the Cinderella tournament twice, always does well in these tournaments. She's the Wonder Champion. She really upped her game. And Hanan, again, who's now elevating that main event scene, part of her job, like an Utami, like a Mayu, like a Syuri, is to take younger talent, make them look like they can belong. Throw those 2 things combined, and you get a 4-star match from your Uncle MT. That's how much I enjoy this. I enjoyed the selling. I enjoy Hanan making Kikyo look good, or eventually Hanan putting Kikyo away with the blockbuster hold, which I will still call the Hanan special because I think it just sounds really cool. Again, 4 stars. I thought Hanan did a great job making Kikyo look really good, but it's not like it was all on Hanan. Kikyo knew she had to bring it here, and she absolutely did. And I just love seeing people constantly getting better when they're working at their craft. That's one of the many reasons why I had this at 4 stars.
Poor Amisori, man. Amisori had absolutely no time for Koguma's shenanigans in this match. And that is something, and I did mention this earlier on, this is something that I really enjoyed from especially Amisori and Lady C, who were so preoccupied over these 2 shows with the loss of their Artist of Stardom championships, especially at the start. Like, look at this picture, man. Look at Amisori's face where she's putting the Kuma. She just, it is a proper like, yep, that's me. I bet you're wondering how I got here. It's such a one of those moments. And then, of course, Koguma goes a little bit too far and Amisori just lights her up with chops. But I did, again, thoroughly enjoy this match. It's another reminder of how good Koguma is. But again, I was really impressed with Amisori. Really, really impressed.
Yeah, different style of a match, the high speed versus the hard hitting, and they were able to really make it work here. Eventually, just like when Ami Story's getting ready to put away Koguma, Koguma is able to use, kind of her experience here and basically almost use Ami Story's strength against her to roll up with a Kuma roll. This was a fun one. I wish it would have had a little more time, but at the same time, I thought 7 minutes was a good enough time. But I could see these two maybe running it back somewhere at a bigger stage. 3 and 3/4 stars. Again, this is one, and you'll find out one of many that I got wrong on my predictions on this day. I did not do too well on day two, my man. Hopefully, I get that bad one out of my system because wasn't impressed, but I was impressed with this match. Again, 3 and 3/4 stars
on this day. Moving on, obviously, unfortunately, for some strange reason, it hasn't synced the graphic for Ruaka and Rian. Rian hugely over, by the way, in Toyohashi. The Toyohashi people absolutely love them. Some reckless brat girl, which is the greatest nickname of any Stardom wrestler. But they are clearly doing what I thought they would do with Ruaka, where they are stacking up those wins early on, ready for her to be knocked down a peg or two in the second half of the tournament.
Yeah, very much like they did with Tor back in 2023.
Exactly, yeah.
I think that's what we talked about here. And again, by hook or by crook, she's getting some wins. Stone Cold Rion looked good, got the proper gear because we're like, wait a minute, didn't she have new gear before? And then we found out like it was just something that didn't fit her. She looks great here. Go look, you're gonna say something, brother.
No, it's just that someone on YouTube pointed out that it was apparently it was one of Maki Ito's gears that she lent her.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you to our fantastic listeners and watchers of this show. You knew it was going to be Rion was going to be able to kind of get a little bit over Ruaka, but once it came time to the numbers game, it was a little cheating, bending and breaking the rules, and then Ruaka putting away Stone Cold Rion with the freezer bomb. 5 minutes, not enough time to tell their story, but I understand what they were going for here. 3.5 stars.
Mei Seira versus Maki Ito. As I mentioned before, Maki Ito making her 5-star Grand Prix debut. How do you think she looked here against Mei Seira? And more importantly, Mei Seira, obviously de facto heel, breaking up Brooklyn the Whole. And I don't think there is a wrestler alive that I can like after that.
Who has more heat on them? And I don't want recency bias here, Rob. Mei Seira for breaking Brooklyn in the Hole, or Minoru Suzuki made his AEW debut. The sound guy, he took off the Minoru. He cut off Minoru Suzuki's theme just before we did the cause. Yeah.
Good. Good Lord. I mean, how do you recover from that? Really? I mean, good Lord.
Suzuki. I think they even called the Suzuki incident. I think even CM Punk put it over because Punk was working for AEW. I think even like Punk put it over. Like we call this the Suzuki incident. Anywho. This match is great. Again, Maki Ito showed a lot of fire here, and she had great strategy where she was working over the back and the legs of one Mei Seira. This was a real fun one. I thoroughly enjoyed this one. We had some great counters back and forth here. Maki Ito gets her first real advantage here of the match, hitting an apron DDT onto Mei Seira. Back in the ring we go. We got Mei Seira and Maki Ito trading roll-ups here. I don't mean fruit roll-ups, but roll-ups back and forth. Maki Ito, because we know Mei Seira loves 4,000 quick roll-ups, where Ito is countering them and hanging with Mei Seira, which there was a lot of really great near falls on there. Because again, it's the 5-star Grand Prix. You never know where it's going to go. Eventually, Mei Seira hits the big drop kick into a Lamai Straw Cradle. She uses the Lamai Straw Cradle to roll up Maki Ito, trying for the shooting star roll up. Ito rolls all the way through and then locks in the Ito special onto Mei Seira. And this is where we see Ito's offense and her strategy really coming into play to slow down one Mei Seira, which I absolutely love that. We see Maki Ito blocks a German suplex at the GDT and a running double stop for a 2.9 count. Mei Seira hits the super kick, and that opens up the door for her to hit that German suplex. And then we have Mei Seira going for the checkmate, which I don't know what has the better or the worst advantage here. Mei Seira going for the checkmate or Momo Watanabe going for a kick in a match for interference, because she misses. Momo Watanabe always throws that kick and it always hits another member of Hate. Mei Seira is hitting the checkmate maybe 10-15% of the time that she goes for it. It's not a really good advantage.
It's a dreadful was. It's like 0.15 PCT.
It's not good, buddy. Not good. And Maki Ito is fully aware of that. Maki Ito blocks that, uses a half crab to transition into the Ito Deluxe for the tap out. 4 stars. Love this match. Love the strategy. I love the counter wrestling from Maki Ito. So she's more than just a great singer, Rob, or a connoisseur of McDonald's food in Italy. If you ever seen her YouTube channel, but yeah, Maki Ito, very wise Maki Ito, using strategy to defeat Mei Sarah, getting her first win in her first ever 5-star Grand Prix. Again, 4 stars for me.
Tomoka Inaba and Natsuko Tora then 8 minutes. Love this story. Basically, Tomoka Inaba absolutely demolished Natsuko Tora's knee, and credit where credit's due. I thought Natsuko Tora did a wonderful job of selling the injury to her knee. It got to a point where Tora would rather lose on her own terms than lose to Tomoka Inaba. So knowing she can't hang because her knee has been messed up that much by Tomoka Inaba's proper shark-like focus on it, she hits her with a chair in full view of the referee. Yes, I lost, but I lost because I wanted to. Because she started to feel like the loss to Tomoka Inaba was imminent, let's say. And I just thought the structure of this match was brilliant. The story told was really well done. Tomoka Inaba looked absolutely vicious. And I thought Natsuko Tora on the back foot did such a good job selling that knee, all to the point where she was hobbling all the way back up the ramp. I thought it was really well done with the time they were given, something completely different. Genuinely, and I know I'm probably the only one, it was a real standout match for me over these 3 shows.
Yeah, you probably liked it a little better than I did. I really enjoyed it. I echo your sentiments almost pretty much word for word. The only thing I'll add on to it is, what does that finish do? With you're getting a great match, and then it gets cut off. I had it 3 3/4 stars, but it could have got to that 4 1/4, 4.5 if they really pushed it. However, what happened was, you're absolutely right. Tora took herself out and was just like, nope, I may lose this match. I may not. I don't know, because she got upset because of the great strategy from Tomoka Inaba. So ultimately, what does this finish do? Puts more heat on Tora, more sympathy on Tomoka Inaba. Tora is the heel, the leader of the big heel faction. So now you really want to boo Tora. Now you're getting more sympathy behind Tomoka Inaba. That's why I said after night 1, I'm like, it really seems like they're doing something different here with Tomoka Inaba. And different, I mean, in a good way. Might be a spotlight that they're using to get Inaba back into that main event scene. And clearly something was happening here. Again, 3 3/4 stars. Like the match. I like the result, because it gets more heat on Tora, more sympathy on Tomoka Inaba. And we'll see how the rest of the tournament unfolds for these two, my friend, because that could be a story going through this tournament. Again, 3 3/4 stars for me, with Tomoka Inaba picking up her first points of this tournament.
Hina and Suzu Suzuki next. Again, tremendous match. I think this is one of the matches of the tournament so far, a slow burn. The Toyohashi crowd absolutely loving them some Hina. And what I thought was really interesting was that Hina attempted to go blow for blow with Suzu Suzuki. And obviously, Suzu is used to this. Suzu is a deathmatch connoisseur. She's a violent person by her own admission. And ultimately, Hina, it was her own downfall by trying to match the champion. And the champion is able basically to ride this, hit that towering German suplex for the win. I thought Hina looked spectacular here. The difference in the last 18 months in Hina is, it is like looking at a different wrestler in terms of charisma, in terms of confidence, in terms of in-ring. And again, alongside Sayaka Kurara, I think I might have made a mistake in not putting Hina through.
Yeah, and I did. And again, she's one that if she doesn't go through, she's going to benefit so much from this tournament. We've seen it right here with the world champion. This was phenomenal. One of my favorite matches of the tournament just far. She went and showed that she can hang, again, not just with the world champion, but a complete ass kicker that is Suzu Suzuki. She went after her. I mean, some of these roaring elbows she threw to Suzu Suzuki, like Hina's like, I don't care that you're a deathmatch queen. I don't care you're the red belt champion of this company. Like, I eventually want to be there. I don't mean deathmatch champion. If she wants to go for that, hey, you do you, Hina. You do you. She's got a nose ring now, so look out. She's rebelling. So, but I mean, she absolutely took it to Suzu. Suzu selling the fire, the back and forth. I mentioned about a month ago when we had tag matches in the quote unquote Stardom World shows, the house shows, that we had Suzu on one side and Hina on the other, and their exchanges were really good. I'm like, I can't wait for their 5-star Grand Prix match. And I'm like, oh, it's night 2. way to go. This was fantastic. 10.5 minutes of just nonstop great action. As we're building towards the end here, Suzu hits a big clothesline. Hina comes back with a running neck breaker. Hina with that rope assisted, almost a twist and shout neck breaker for a 2 count, and then hits the Hina hammer onto Suzu for a 2.9 count. Hina goes to the top rope for the mad splash. No water in the pool, and Suzu just buries this knee into poor Hina's throat. I mean, she threw that with a lot of violence behind it. Hina comes back with not one but two roaring elbows, but then Suzu's able to hit the tequila shot for a 2 count. Suzu goes for the German suplex. Again, these roll-ups, Rob, you mentioned it, goes for the second German suplex. Hina is able to slip out, trips up Suzu, Ghetto clutch, 2.99. Great selling from both Hina to be like, yes, I got her. And Suzu squirming, and the crowd just really erupts like, oh. Eventually, Suzu comes back, hits that high angle German suplex, putting away Hina. 4.25 stars. Rob, as I always say, there are some matches that even when you lose, you kind of win. This was a big bucket of win for Hina, even though she lost. This goes to show that Hina on any given night can hang with the best of this roster. Again, 4.25 stars for me.
The first time limit draw of the tournament, Utami Hayashishita and Rina Yamashita. And this match was what I wanted it to be. Just two people running into each other. I did really enjoy, obviously, Rina Yamashita going back up the ramp to hit this lariat, but going back through the curtain to do Utami's entrance before doing it. Thought that was brilliant. And then she charges down the ramp and Utami flattens her with a lariat. Just stuff like that it's Rina's character. She really does put her character through in her performances, which always make her matches feel more unique. But all in all, I thought this was a really enjoyable match. It's probably not one we're going to talk about at the end of the tournament and say this was tremendous, this was one you need to watch, but one I thoroughly enjoyed.
I'll disagree. It's my second favorite match of the tournament thus far.
There we go. Okay.
That's how much I loved it. Let's talk about that spot because you're absolutely right. So Rina has Utami where she wants her. And then we get a little more of the comedic side of Rina doing the Utami pose over and over. And I'm like, she's taking way too much time. There's no way that Utami's going to sit there and take it. Tommy waits for Rina to come down the aisleway, and Tommy just flattens Rina. Rina takes this bump. I mean, she just takes this bump. I thought that was great. As far as the match goes, I kind of tell it was going to go to the time limit draw because we had really great pacing to start. The big lockup, the headlock takeover, the hammerlock. Like these two are showing a lot of aspect of pro wrestling here, taking their time to build up towards those crazy bumps again, which we eventually did see. Back in the ring we go. We get a lariat exchange between the two. Utami with the Samoan drop. Rina with the big forearm, super kick, and headbutt combination. Think about that. Boom, boom, boom. Right to poor Utami's head. That was something. Rina hits a top rope splash for a 2.9 count. Rina goes for the splash mountain. However, Utami is able to escape and then hits a big German suplex and then locks in a rear naked choke. That opens up the door for Utami to go to the hijack bomb, but we see Rina escape that. We get a lariat exchange between the two. Utami hits a torture rack bomb for a 2.9 count. Rina comes back with the B driver. Utami hits a huge lariat, and then she goes to pick up Rina for the hijack bomb, but the time expires. I did not realize how fast this 15 minutes went because it was nonstop action where it was a 50-50 match. This match kept going back and forth, back and forth. 4.5 stars, Rob. I absolutely love this. Welcome back to the 5-star Grand Prix. Utami Hayashishita and Rina, 2 matches in, having great matches of our first ever 5-star Grand Prix.
No, we disagree. There we go. Still a very good match. I just didn't like it as much as you. There we are. However, I think one match we probably will agree on is Sayaka Kurara versus Rina, which they have a lot of history. I think it's fair to say. Obviously, Cinderella tournament final, the most prevalent, but Sayaka Kurara is rapidly improving in my eyes. I've gone on record to say I'm not sure of her as a performer. I think she has good performances in her. I just don't see her as a top babyface in the company. I still don't see her as a top babyface as of yet. However, it's performances like this, admittedly in front of a hometown crowd against a very good heel in Rina, that are going to get me there slowly but surely. Because again, I thought this was an absolutely fantastic matchup between these two who don't seem to be able to have a bad match together.
Great point. And I was just thinking about this. These two have great chemistry, Rob. There it is. as great as this match was, their match in this year's Cinderella tournament and the finals of last year's, I enjoyed better, which just goes to show you how great these two work. Sayaka Kurora only wrestling a handful of years. Rina, just 19 years old. I mean, the world is the oyster of these two wrestlers. Rina pinning Hanan in night one. Maybe that's the way we're going, buddy. Maybe it is. I think you made mention a couple months ago. Rina may be the one to basically unseat her older sister to win the Wonder Belt. Again, more on that in the upcoming months. But yeah, I mean, this was terrific. A great way to end this show because I was like, how are they going to outdo Tommy and Rina? I like to do Tommy and Rina a little bit better, but this one got the crowd going here, especially towards the end because of the hometown crowd of Sayaka Kurora as we're getting towards the end. Rina does a great job, and it's really an art form in itself to stretch these false finishes out. We've seen them in singles matches, and even when her, Fukin Death, and Konami were the artist champions a handful of months ago, they had these long stretch of false finishes where it's just like sometimes if you do too much of them or you don't know where to put what, you can lose the crowd. The way she structures these false finishes is an art form to herself. And the way she builds literally from the opening bell to that closing stretch, and she does it at 19 years old. She's a truly, truly special talent. Again, as we're building here up towards the end, Rina with a judo throw. Sakura comes back with a violent shooting and the fisherman screw for a 2 count. Sakura, I love whenever Sakura gets in trouble, rear naked choke. Rear naked, and she jumps on you out of nowhere. It's like she just comes flying. Well, where'd she go? Like that rear naked choke. I love how she uses that. Rina escapes the rear naked choke with a hydrangea. So now we're going back and forth with the submissions, which I really liked. Rina with the second rope knee bomb right into the top rope knee bomb. I love it where it's just like we see Azumi do it too. Sometimes she'll do the double stomp from the second and then the top. We've seen Rina do that quite a bit. It is a big trope of her offense. Saka comes back with a big spear and the Falcon Arrow for a 2.9 count. Rina then blocks the spear, locking in Sakura in the hydrangea. What a great fighting spirit effort here from Rina. Rina stops Rina goes for the pink devil. Rina hits the pink devil for a 2 count. We get back and forth pins, back and forth between the two. Rina hits a big boot, and then Sakura uses that momentum to just absolutely spear right through Rina for the 3 count. 4.25 stars. Again, as much as I love this match, I think their Cinderella matches the last 2 years were even better. Keep an eye, Rob, in the next few years of Sayaka Core and Rina being one of those really great rivalries / feuds in Stardom history. Again, both younger into their career. These two can have that big rivalry for tag belts, artist belts, Wonder, World, 5-star Grand Prix finals. I mean, it's all there. All the potential's there. Again, great main event, 4.25 stars.
Let's move on to this final show in Oh, I'm so sorry. Please.
I'll get this over quick. I had 3 right, and so did Amber. We did awful. Wow. But I'm still up 1 point going into this final night, sir. It is 9-8 and going into night 3.
Night 3, of course, on the 20th of July, the final of this run of 3 consecutive shows. This coming from Herbis Hall in Osaka, attendance of 744, which Stardom confirmed to be a sellout of the venue. It's the second time the company have run the venue. It's a 14.11% increase on the only other time the company have run the venue, which was 652 earlier this year in April. Just run through these results then. So we open with a 4-way match. Syuri Ano defeated Natsupoi, Motoi Hamabe, and Emma Maishima, pinning Motoi with the special pottering in 5 minutes and 20 seconds.
3.5 stars.
All tournament matches from here then. Blue Stars B, Momo Watanabe moved to 4 points, defeating Kikyo, who stays on 0 with a brutal-looking modified chicken wing in 7 minutes and 44 seconds. Red Stars B, Rina Yamashita moves to 5 points, defeating Azusa Inaba, who remains on 0 with the implant in 8 minutes and 56 seconds. Blue Stars A, Hina moves to 2 points, defeating Aya Sakura, who stays on 2 points, pinning her with the Mad Splash in 11 minutes and 27 seconds. Red Stars B, Saya Ida moves to 4 points, defeating a dejected Lady C, who remains on 0, submitting her with the Giant Killer in 11 minutes and 30 seconds. Blue Stars B, Hannah moves to 4 points, defeating Koguma, who remains on 4, rolling her up with the 17 in 8 minutes and 34 seconds. Red Stars A, Tomoka Inaba moves to 4 points, defeating Sayaka Kurara, who remains on 4 points, pinning her with the Inaba drop in 4 minutes and 49 seconds. Blue Stars A, Hanako gets her first win of the tournament, moving to 2 points, defeating Miyu Amasaki, who stays on 0 with the JP Coaster in 14 minutes and 22 seconds. And then in your main event, Red Stars A, Micah moves to 2 points, defeating Azumi, who remains on 0 with the wrist clutch Michinoku driver 2 in 13 minutes and 3 seconds. Matt, you obviously lavished praise on Kikyo Furusawa for her match with Hanan. How do you think she fared against Momo Watanabe before she got tied up in that horrific-looking modified chicken wing, of course?
I liked how like she was baiting Momo in to throw the kicks to get the ankle lock in. Like that was her strategy. And eventually it was like, yeah, it's not going to work because Momo throws those kicks like a buzzsaw. So again, it was the inexperience of Kikyo that kind of did her in. And I love that modified chicken wing that Momo did. It was almost like Kawada's stretch plum is how she started it. And then she just ended up in the crossface chicken wing. We've seen Momo over the years defeat kind of like the lower members of the roster with that crossface chicken wing. I would love to see her use this version of it more to win like the bigger matches, because I think that's just another violent move in the already insane moveset that is Momo Watanabe. Great fighting spirit from Kikyo, just too much of our last year's champion in this. And again, Momo adding in another new move, a variation, more violent variation of her already brutal crossface chicken wing. 3 3/4 stars for me, partner.
Rina Yamashita versus Azusa Inaba. This really tickled me. It really did. Azusa Inaba able to keep up. Rina tried it about 5 times all the way around the ring. You had the chops on the chairs, and then eventually Rina just too powerful for Azusa. But I thought, you ready, Mert, man? I think these two had really underrated chemistry. It's not a match that I looked at and thought, ooh, I'm going to circle this one, but genuinely surpassed expectations for me.
This was fun because Rina likes to take it to the outside, and obviously Zeus is part of Hate. It's kind of their gimmick. And then Rina was like, okay, come on, let's see what you got, and stood on the chairs. Like we see the chair bowling quite a bit. We really don't see the competitors on top of the chairs. Like, let's see what you got. And you can see Zeus is like,
she wanted none of it initially.
Yeah. She's like, I guess. And it was like, you kind of called my punk card here. And I'm like, a part of this big heel group. So I'm like, I guess I got to go. And she obliged. God bless her. She tried her best, but just too much Rina. Towards the end, though, Zeus just starts throwing the kicks, the forearms, the knees. Eventually, you're absolutely right. It's just way too much here of Zeus Inaba, or excuse me, with Rina with the lariat and then the big boot and the B driver for the 3 count. 3 3/4 stars for me, partner.
Moving on then, Hina getting the win over Aya Sakura. This was a really, really fun match. And again, we are going to be commenting on the fact that Hina is one to look out for in the future. And again, how Aya Sakura is laying down that gauntlet heading into this tournament.
Well, what a great tournament thus far for Aya. The Hanako match was great. And this one was just as good, if not better. I liked, I love it's the striker versus, it's the old striker versus grappler. Because obviously Aya loves throwing the kicks. Hina does have that background in judo. And we saw it from the outset where Aya is using the low kicks to try to get her distance. And Hina eventually grabs the leg kick, and then we double leg takedown. And then we get some mounted forearms from Hina. Form exchange back and forth between the two. And then we have Aya with the series of mid kicks onto Hina. Hina comes back with the judo throw and then the pump handle Uranagi for a 2 count. Hina going back to the STF. I said this last year. I want to see Hina do the STF more. And the way she worked it here was perfect. Again, the judo throw, the Uranagi into the STF. It's that old catch wrestling judo style that, since the dawn of time has worked for people, and it's working for Hina in this portion of the tournament. Aya slips out of the Hina hammer, hits a German suplex, and then a buzzsaw kick, because dropping you on your head's not bad enough. Now we need to kick your head in. Hina showing great fire, kicking out a 2.9, which I absolutely love. And then we have Aya Sakura goes for a big head kick. Hina ducks that, hits the Hina special and the Hina hammer. That scores Hina a 2 count. Hina, that rolling elbow, my man, absolutely planted it to Aya. It's like, yeah, you want to kick me in the head? I'm going to forearm you in the head. Absolutely love that. And then Hina hits the rope assisted neck breaker and then the mad splash for the 3 count. I like in a lot of these 5-star matches, we kind of see back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Hina here has to blitz Aya. Like after Aya hits that second buzzsaw kick, she goes for a third. And then it's just Hina with the Hina hammer, the roaring elbow, the neck breaker, and the mad splash, having to hit 4 moves back to back to back, taking advantage of the missed head kick from Aya, which I really like that it was something a little bit different. 4.25 stars. These two wrestlers are absolutely crushing it here in the 5-star Grand Prix. Like, we know Tom, we get deep in the tournament with Tommy, Starlight Kid, Saya, and I know Saya and Starlight Kid haven't had matches yet. Micah, they're all Azumi. And again, we're getting to Azumi's match here. They're going to have unbelievable matches. But like the middle of the card, what's been the middle of the card to start in the last year or two, are absolutely delivering spades with the Hanako, the Aya, the Hina, the newcomer with Aoki, Tomoka Inaba. What's going on with her? Something special is going on here. This is really making it for an overall, just the first 3 nights in, one of the best tournaments they've ever done. Like, we've only had that really one blowaway match. Again, we're going to get into it, but everything else has been either very good to, holy geez, it's a darn good tournament.
With that being said, Syuri and Lady C, this was another great match. Thoroughly enjoyed this. There was a moment where Syuri is backing Lady C into the ropes and is hitting her with these chops, and Lady C is just completely no-selling them, like dead behind the eyes. And it was really quite imposing. It's not a side we've seen very often of Lady C, if at all. Now, I know that obviously, as I mentioned before, this can be attributed to the dejection of losing the Artist of Stardom Championship. She referenced it backstage, and it took Syuri a long time to bring her out of this funk. But there was quite an imperious note of Lady C just basically no-selling these chops and then delivering some booming ones of her own. Thoroughly enjoyed this match. I think these two bounce off each other, I mean, literally and metaphorically, really well. Again, Syuri is tremendous. Lady C, vastly underrated, and that's what led to a thoroughly, thoroughly enjoyable match.
It's almost like Lady C is like, okay, you want to take those artist belts off me? Now let's show what I can do, because now I'm going to have a whole string of singles matches. It's like, it's very rare we see a Lady C singles match. Like, we don't get it often, but it's like, okay, high profile match, AEW wrestlers losing the belts. Where do we go from here? Everybody wanted to see Lady C for years to get a belt, only has it for 55 days or whatever it was. And her response is, I know she ate an L here, but she had a phenomenal match. I mean, what a great way as far as match quality goes to be like, okay, I had a loss, but I'm putting everybody else on in this bracket in Red Stars B on notice. Like, it's not a night off when you're in the ring with me. Lady C was great. Like, these choke slams, like Saida properly got out there, making sure Lady C looked brutal here. The forearms, the chops, the lariat, just great back and forth action here. Ultimately, it comes down to Saida just working over the neck onto Lady C, locking in the Giant Killer, her version of the Dragon Sleeper. Lady C gets out, back and forth there, and then just eat it with the lariats going back to the neck, locking back in her version of the Dragon Sleeper, the Giant Killer, forcing Lady C to tap out. 11 minutes and 30 seconds. I like how they gave these two time to tell their story. I'm looking forward to Lady C the rest of her tournament matches. And again, I don't think she's going to win a lot of them, but she's in there with Utami, Rina Yamashita. I'm really looking forward to the rest of her tournament based off this match here, really showing what a great, and as you said, buddy, underrated wrestler she is. 4.25 stars for me.
Hanan versus Koguma, and a lot was made about this because obviously former Stars teammates, and there was a rather public, an aggressive parting of the ways at All-Star Grand Queendom between Hanan and Syuri, Koguma and Hazuki. It seems that all of the heat was Hazuki and Hanan, because Koguma and Hanan absolutely fine with each other, gave each other a massive hug after the match, so no tension whatsoever. Just another thoroughly enjoyable match.
After we saw 2 real hard-hitting matches here with Hina versus Aya Sakura and Saida versus Lady C, this was a great pro wrestling match, like hold for hold, who's going to outmaneuver, like chess match, back and forth, like, who's going to have, like, as in the words of Billy Robinson, it's a game of physical chess. And that's what this was. It was a little bit different than the last 2 matches that we saw with the roll-ups and the great wrestling and the back and forth, like who's going to be able to catch the other. And ultimately, it was Hanan catching Koguma into the 17. I enjoyed this. Again, really great closing stretch, great pro wrestling match. 4 stars for me, buddy. I thought even 8.5 minutes, these two laid it all out there. Then afterwards, yeah, really embraced. It was just like, oh, it's like, I like you, Koguma, but I don't like Hazuki, even though Hazuki did predict Koguma to win this whole entire thing, my friend.
Only a matter of time, brother. Only a matter of time. Sayaka Kurara and Tomoka Inaba. This was over quickly. Literally, Sayaka Kurara, and apparently, I made a mistake on the primer. I said these two hadn't faced off in a singles match, and of course they have. But Carrara went for a spear and just got kneed in the head by Tomoka Inaba. And it is a spot that I do remember now that Brandon on Patreon, thank you, Brandon, pointed out that error. I was like, of course they have, because I remember that spot. They repeated it here. And I don't know whether Sayaka Carrara is just an absolutely unbelievable seller or whether it did knock her a little bit funny, because Tomoka Inaba hits the Inaba drop afterwards. Match over, fine. And Sayaka Carrara does not move like for ages and ages and ages in the ring. And this is a show like where you're trying to get through matches. And I was like, I hope she's all right. And they sort of peel her out of the ring and onto Syuri Ano's back. And Natsupoi looks genuinely, because I hope everything's all right. There's nothing that's come out that said she isn't. I think it's just a very, very good sell job. But there was a moment, Matt, where I was like, I hope she's all right.
I did see some discourse online before I watched this that they thought Sayaka was hurt. So I went and watched it. And I could be wrong. I went and actually watched the finish twice for less than 5 minutes. Like, ooh, these two. Figured Inaba's a main eventer. Sakura's coming off, a little championship run here. At the same time, the finish made sense. And where Tomoka kneed Sayaka, she got her hand up. So I'm like, yeah, you can still kind of get rocked there, but it looked safe. Where I'm going to say it's a work and a sell job is Daichi's in there. Daichi, the best referee in all of wrestling, in my opinion. No doctor came in to check on Sakura. If she was knocked out or had a neck injury, don't you think it would have been, no disrespect to Soriano, who I love, don't you think it would have been a doctor that peeled her out of there, not Soriano on the piggyback?
True. Yeah.
But that does show to me, what that did show is, one, I'm like, okay, I think Sayaka's fine. And again, it's been a couple days since the show. We haven't seen anything else come out. I think she's fine. Now that just goes to show you the bond of Cosmic Angels, especially Soripoi and Sakura, how concerned they were for her. And what also that shows is the deadly striker that is Tomoka Inaba. She got rid of. She got exactly. That's why Tomoka Inaba, as much as like, oh, Rina Yamashita is doing great, and ooh, Tommy's back, and wait till we talk about this main event. So Tomoka Inaba is, in the weekend, is the most interesting wrestler for me because of kind of the spotlight we've seen. This is a knockout. It was almost like the Inaba drop was a formality at this point. Like, was absolutely just not steamroll, but all it takes is that one shot, one kill, pun intended, Rob, to put anybody away. And Tomoka Inaba is putting people on notice in this tournament. Literally decimated the right leg of our former champion Natsuko Tori, to the point where Tori's like, I want out. Like, that's as good as a verbal tap out. I want out. And then pretty much KOs the last champion we had here. Again, you're absolutely right. Makes Tomoka more legitimate. Even though the short match, I had it 4 stars because the action was fast and furious, and I love the finish, my friend.
Semi-main event, Hanako versus Miyu Amasaki. I'm a big fan of how they did this, actually. It was completely different to how we would usually do this. So Maika came out with Hanako, and Azumi came out with Miyu Amasaki. Obviously, they had a tag title match a couple of weeks ago, and Azumi and Maika were facing off in the main event. So it was all linked. And then there's a moment that Miyu Amasaki does a dive and Maika catches her, and there's some discourse there. So Azumi interjects herself. Then there's a moment on the other side of the ring. Once this match ends, then it bleeds straight into Azumi versus Maika. It was all very, very, very well done. But speaking just about this match, what Miyu Amasaki didn't get in the match with Ruaka, she got here. I think they carried on from the chemistry, and we were very full of praise for Miyu Amasaki and Hanako in particular for the Goddesses of Stardom Championship match that they had at Korakuen. And I think they carried on with that here. Miyu Amasaki repeatedly going for the DDTs, but Hanako repeatedly blocking it, and then eventually just bruising her eventually into submission with just 30 seconds left on the time limit.
Yeah, but she actually beat it with the JP coaster, but she tried for the Shirazagi quite a bit. But I liked how there was a lot of counter wrestling from Miyu, but she kept the counter punch was the same thing. It was a DDT, and eventually Hanako's like, I think I might have this scouted. She goes for that big pop-up DDT, and boy, how did she pop up, because Hanako popped her up and hit her with this huge lariat that opened up the door for the JP coaster. So I liked how we had Hanako eventually figuring out Miyu Amasaki in this one, getting out of the tensai, blocking the tensai would ultimately did her in at the championship match in Cork and Hall, obviously the top rope version. But Hanako really showing her wrestling IQ here, babying out to outlast and kind of outwit Miyu Amasaki towards the end. And I like how we're building back up to this Shirasagi. We haven't seen Hanako really go for that or use it that much in matches these last few months. I'd like to see her win 1 or 2 matches in this tournament with it. But yeah, you're absolutely right. You throw in with the Zumi and Micah. We have all that stuff there. Hanako gets the win. There's all sorts of shoving. And then it's like, hey, we're out here. We happen to be the next match. It's very ECW booking. We're like, let's go. 4.25 stars on this one. And then we just go right into the next match, buddy.
You're absolutely right. And one thing I do just want to ask before we get into the match itself, opinion of Azumi's new gear and new haircut.
Love it. I'm not always, I like the long hair, but I think the short hair works. Her new gear looks fantastic. She's never had a bad look. Like, that's the one thing with Azumi. Phenomenal wrestler. Like, changes her gear every now and again. Obviously, the 2022 5-star Grand Prix, the finals, that gear might have been her bad luck. But regardless, looked great, even though losing on her birthday to Saki Kashima. But absolutely loved it. You know, she debuted it on night 1, has her first match here with Micah. I thought she looked terrific. I do have to get the expert Andy Header on it, who Azumi is his favorite Joshi wrestler. So we'll probably talk about that on Talk Joshi. But yeah, I absolutely loved it. Let's say you, partner, what do you think of Azumi's new hair?
The new hair's a throwback, certainly. I think I prefer the longer hair, but I am someone who prefer, like, even with Utami, I'm a big fan of the longer hair with Utami. The gear I'm a big fan of. Again, there aren't many, if any, bad looks that Azumi's had with the new gear. She always seems to knock it out of the park. Just like she knocks it out of the park with Micah. See what I did there? Just transitioning.
We talked about this when we were having those preview tags leading up towards their championship match, where it's like, man, Azumi and Micah are crushing it, and they crushed it in that tag match in Cork and Hall for the Goddess belts, for them to retain against Micah and Hanako. The main mention, it's like, man, they haven't had, since Micah got that main event push at the end of 2023 and Azumi got that big main event push the last year and change. These two haven't had the big singles match. And I always say the mulligan is, I know they were in the main event of the playoff show in Shinjuku Face in 2024, but Azumi wrestled 3 times before that. And it was still a great match. What can they do here? Micah picking up where she left off at her last 5-star Grand Prix, winning the whole thing and having great matches. Azumi picking up where she left off at last year's 5-star Grand Prix, having, in my opinion, as far as match quality goes, the best 5-star Grand Prix in the history of this tournament. This is the match everybody's chasing. And the fact that it happened to be on night 3 on a Monday, it's just crazy. Like, they could have, we talked about it last week, that there's no big, huge blockbuster match in the actual 5-star Grand Prix on night 1. I'm like, man, what if they put this on night 1? Regardless, this was great. The crowd was all into this. Like, they saw some great wrestling. These two started off with a forearm exchange. Azumi's like, maybe I shouldn't be here with Micah because forearm exchange, I'll probably get destroyed. Leg sweep, drop kick combination. And then Azumi rips off the 5-star Grand Prix shirt. Everybody starts chanting Azumi. Then Micah comes back with the big power slam into the fallaway slam. She rips off the shirt and everybody starts chanting Micah, because at first it's like, oh man, like, they're all behind Azumi. Is Micah going to be the heel here? 30 seconds later, Micah gets the big spot and now they're chanting Micah. So now they're chanting pro wrestling. And I'm like, man, if I was in the crowd for this, I'd be chanting for both, because what I want to see is a great match. And you got a great match. Again, not only, in my opinion, the best 5-star Grand Prix match this year, but one of the best matches I've seen in all wrestling this year. Kind of just going to go through some of the big points here. Top rope fight here, which leads to Azumi with an arm bar, and then a second rope double stomp, and then a top rope double stomp. Micah comes back with the suplex, and then Azumi hits a suplex of her own. Micah hits a huge lariat, and then Azumi comes back with a head kick. And then we see Azumi with a running destroyer, as if Azumi doesn't have enough moves in her arsenal. Now she's doing a running Canadian destroyer. And then Rob, she kind of used towards the end the Arisa Hoshinki Brazilian kick. Like, she hit the switch kick towards the end. I was like, oh, and then a pump knee. So I was like, Azumi adding more and more to her arsenal. And it's not like she's doing moves just to do moves. They made sense. Mike is stronger. She's bigger here. And Azumi is a very great underrated striker. She's using the striking to her own advantage to set up for yet another destroyer here towards the end for a 2 count. Micah stops a top rope double stomp. We get a top rope fight, and then Micah hits a top rope. what this whole sequence towards the end, then Micah hits the Michinoku driver. I'm like, what a finish. Azumi kicks out. Micah can't believe it. Micah, being the vet that she is, goes to the hammerlock Michinoku driver for the 3 count. This was so tough for me because it was better than 4 3/4 stars, but not exactly 5 stars. I landed on 4 3/4 stars, but like it was like 4.9. This was so good. This is, I think, Micah's best singles match since the 5-star Grand Prix final. I even like this better than Micah and Hashimoto back at last year's All-Star Grand Queendom. And this is just another great match for Azumi. I mean, this is just unbelievable. What she did, especially towards the end of that 5-star Grand Prix last year, and then goes on and has this one. Good luck to anybody beating that. And I really hope that every wrestler tries, because all these 5-star matches were great and certain ones were better. This, to me, absolutely knocked out. I knew they were going to have a good match, but boy, howdy. Like, if anybody ever thought that, like, since Micah coming back from injury has lost a step, you're out of your mind. And not too many people have said that. I'm just saying, like, this was terrific. And Azumi's one of the best wrestlers I've ever seen at just 21, 22, whatever she is. I mean, what a special talent that we've seen with Azumi. I mean, she's going to use this tournament to show that she's one of the best going right now. Again, 4 3/4 stars. This blew my mind. This was phenomenal. My expectations were high, and they absolutely knocked it out of the park.
So did you like this one?
I did, my man. I did. Sorry, I don't mean to be on my phone. I'm telling my wife we're wrapping up.
We are indeed.
Yeah. I had 5. I had 7 right. My wife had 5. So I'm in.
Well, just quickly then, whilst you are texting Amber, just want to quickly run through where we are in terms of the scores. Sayaka Kurara and Tomoka Inaba sit at the top of Red Stars A with 4 points. Tsukiyoki and Micah just behind them on 2. In Red Stars A again. No, Red Stars B. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. I've got it on my other screen as well. Syuri sits clear at the top of Red Stars B on 4 points, with Rina Yamashita just behind her on 3, and then Meisera and Maki Ito on 2. Blue Stars A, we have got Ruaka, the early leader at the top of the block on 4, and then a whole host of people on 2. And then in Blue Stars B, 3 people sit at the top of the block: Hanan, Koguma, and Momo Watanabe on 4 points each. Kikyo Furusawa is 0-3. Bless her. Just very quickly, we have got a couple of shows coming up. We've got Ishikawa on the 25th, which has got Utami versus Azusa Inaba, as well as Tsukiyoki versus Natsuko Tora and Tomoka Inaba versus Azumi. We have got night number 5, which is Duo Cerezo in Joetsu. I always mispronounce that. Utami Hayashishita versus Saya Ida on that show. Tomoka Inaba versus Micah as well. And then finally, July 28th, Korakuen Hall, Starlight Kid versus Saya Kamatani. We've also got Rian taking on Julia Hart, as well as Lady C versus Maki Ito, Yuna Mizumori versus Amisori, Suzu Suzuki versus Miyu Amasaki. And Matt, that leaves just one thing, and that is, of course, before we sign off, a bit of Io Watch.
Really, not much of it. She drove down into a car with Danhausen to promote her match coming up here with one Liv Morgan. So that's it. That's all we got.
Drove in a car. Brilliant. Love that. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of this episode of the Stardom Cast. Really hope you enjoyed listening to it as much as we enjoyed recording it. Please, if you haven't already, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. If you could leave us a comment and a 5-star review, that would be grand as well. Don't forget, you can find us on Patreon, patreon.com/World of Joshi, or www.worldofjoshi.com, where you can get all of these episodes ad-free for as little as $1 a month, as well as a whole host of bonus content as well. Find us on social media at WOJ Wrestling. Find me on Twitter at RealRobGoodwin. Matt Turner, I've tried to do that as quickly as possible. Let's wrap up. Good luck, Amber.
I appreciate it. I did find out my nephew did take first place in the junior baking contest. So we're 1 for 1. Questions, comments, suggestions, anything from me, Matt Turner OF on the Instagram and Twitter is the easiest, best, is the fast way to get a hold of me. Matt at worldofjoshi.com, as well as Rob, you ready? The Stardom Cast 22 at gmail.com. Folks, that's going to wrap it up for this episode. Greatly appreciate your support. Can't do without you. Like I always say, just not my podcast. It's our podcast. Because when we're all together, everybody's different. Everybody's special.